Welcome, everyone, to the Tuesday, August 25th Council Chambers for regular meeting. We would like to begin this meeting by acknowledging that we are gathered on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of the Inca, Kappa, and Silk people. No late items. Public input. Do we have any? Excellent.
Public input that was indicated by Ms. White in regards to the Rodeo Association.
You're up, Alvina. No. This is public input. Yeah. Turn your phone off and come on up. I'm just warning you. I'd hate to see you lose $10 every time it goes off. Just ask Councillor Egan here. I'll get you to push the red button. Yeah, well, that was then.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I want to speak about the increase in the property taxes on the rodeo grounds from approximately $3,400 to $17,000 a year. That's a 400% increase. This new bill would be 5 times the previous amount. For a volunteer-run organization, this is not a minor adjustment. It is money that can no longer be used to maintain the grounds, improve the event, attract visitors, support participants, or build the rodeo for the future. Throughout Merritt, volunteers give thousands of unpaid hours to organizations and events that strengthen our community. They organize, fundraise, clean up, make repairs, and take on responsibilities that would otherwise cost the community a great deal of money. They do it because they care, not because they receive a paycheck. But volunteer commitment should not be mistaken for an unlimited resource. We cannot expect people to work their hearts out raising money and growing an organization they believe in, only to see the money they raise swallowed up by an unexpected tax increase or expense. Over time, volunteers become disheartened, progress gets delayed, events get scaled back, and the organizations start to question the sustainability of their efforts. The rodeo is more than a piece of taxable property. It is part of Merritt's history, culture, tourism, economy, and community identity. It brings people into our community who spend money at our hotels, restaurants, gas stations, and local businesses. I am asking Council to review this increase and work with the rodeo organization on a reasonable solution, whether through a permissive tax exemption, a grant, a phased increase, or another form of relief. Please recognize the value of what our volunteers contribute before this tax increase takes away their ability and eventually their willingness to continue donating their time. This is not only about whether the rodeo can find another $13,600 this year. It's about whether volunteers will continue raising money when their efforts no longer result in better grounds, better programming, or a better event. If the burden becomes unsustainable, the city may gain $17,000 in taxes but lose an event, a tourism attraction, community infrastructure, and thousands of volunteer hours. Again, this is a 400% increase, 5 times higher than the previous amount. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, okay, Kathy, I'll get you to push the button, red button in front of you there. There you go. Now we can hear you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kathy Reimer, and I'm here on representing the Nicola Valley Fall Fair Association. As noted, the rodeo, we are also joint owners on the property. We each own half of the property. So we also have a concern because we're paying part of it. As noted in the Nicola Valley Rodeo Association in their presentation to Mayor Getz and Council on August 20th, we are co-owners the Fall Fair rodeo grounds, and as such are also impacted by the aforementioned tax increase on our joint property. The portion of the 2026 taxes of $17,000 that we paid our portion of it was $6,000. This is a crippling for a small organization such as ours and hard to justify for a nonprofit organization, and of course not sustainable for future coming forward. We are incorporated in July 4th of 1979 as a nonprofit society and have operated as such to the current date. I am The aim of our organization is to enhance the quality of life and well-being of the residents of Merritt and surrounding area. We could not do the work we do without hundreds of hours of volunteers put into helping us raise funds to pay our huge insurance bill, improve our assets, and hold an annual fall fair. As anyone in a nonprofit knows, volunteers are the backbone of our moving forward to better our community. In this day and age, volunteers are hard to come by, and every nonprofit will agree with this. What a shame if our volunteers who are citizens of Merritt decide that having to raise a large amount of money to pay exorbitant taxes to the city, they are working to improve its, money to pay exorbitant taxes to a very city they are working to improve is too much to decide to walk away. As noted, the Nicola Valley Rodeo submission, we also respect the request that council view and amend Schedule B of bylaw 2380-2024 to rectify this issue as it pertains to our joint owned property. Thank you.
Thank you. CEO, anybody else on the list?
No, your worship.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the input. Adoption of minutes, 4.1, regular council meeting minutes, July 21st, 2026. Recommendation that the minutes of the regular council meeting held on July 21st, 2026 be adopted. Yeah. Councillor Strozzi, Councillor Baxter. Any errors or omissions? Oh, Councillor Charney. Can you just be, we're trying to, this is how the motion, everything moves forward in a council meeting. Darlene, can you just give us a moment, please? This is how it, we're not agreeing to anything other than the fact that we had a meeting a month ago and we're making sure there was no errors or omissions before we move it forward. That's what we're agreeing to. But what we don't do is we don't just jump in whenever we feel like it. All right? Thank you.
8.1 remuneration committee. It says that the 5% increase is outlined in the 2026 report. It was moved and seconded and carried. I voted against this increase, and I would respectfully request that it is duly noted that I voted against the 5% increase.
You? Anyone else? So we will, recommendation that the minutes of the regular council meeting held on July 21st, 2026 be adopted as amended. Same, okay, all those in favor? Opposed, carried. General matters, delegations and recognitions, Merritt Minor Softball, Storage Edition. Ms. Duthright to present on behalf of the Merritt Minor Softball Association. Amy, you get to push that button. Thank you very much.
Hello, everybody. I believe I have a presentation coming up. PowerPoint. Is it gonna come up on the screen? No?
Should be coming up.
Okay, perfect.
Let's give us a minute here.
Well, wait for that. I just introduced myself. I'm Amy Duthright. I've talked to you guys before on behalf of Merritt Minor Softball Association in town. We are in desperate need of new storage, so that's what this presentation will be about. Our ball storage is currently at the park. It goes through it in here, but it does need some repairs. So, the first slide. Just a little bit about us and our growth. I'm not going to read through the whole slide, but it does outline our growth. We've got every year we have more and more kids joining. Year after year, we're growing, buying more equipment, replacing old equipment with those funds we get from registration fees. So just a little bit about that, all of our tournaments that we host. A little bit about our 2026 season, our league game. Our district has now revived our league. So we're hosting teams every weekend, pretty much from Logan Lake, Ashcroft, Cache Creek, Barrier, Clearwater, and Kamloops all come here. We go there. Yeah, I can barely read this. Sorry. Investing in Central Park. So just a little bit about what we have done for the park, what we hope to do in the future. We want to invest in the park that we play in. our current challenge. Here's a picture of our current storage bin, as I'm sure everybody has seen. It is not in the best of shape. If you've ever seen the roof, it's in worse shape as the sides. So we're getting a lot of liquid inside of it as well into the gear. The idea originally was to replace that with a storage container or a sea can, but current building bylaws don't allow that. So that's why we're looking for an addition instead. We're using the space, like we've got all of our umpire equipment, all of our back catching equipment. We provide all of the gear to our players. We pride ourselves on that. It's a very low entry level sport. Barrier to entry is low for the players. We provide helmets, bats, everything that they will need to play the sport we provide. So it's all in there. This is kind of my very rough drawing of a proposed addition. So the idea is instead of putting a secondary structure with the required setbacks on the bylaw, we would build an addition off to that side of it. Just the gazebo is already there. We would just add to it. We would have to like secure it, close it in a little bit of it. But with the addition, we would also be gaining more open space as well. Some of the benefits of having better storage. Funding sources will obviously be our big question. We do have funds. Not all of the funds. We'll be looking at grants as well and sponsorships and donations, but we aren't asking for funds at this time. We do have the funds for this project. Just a few things here on if we get support from you guys, what the next steps look like and what we're asking for. Yes.
Okay.
And thank you. These are pictures of my two little kids starting that they played at 3 years old. So we've got a long ways to go until they play till they're 19, some of them 17, 18, 19 years old. And that is the end of my presentation.
Thank you very much. I think it's a reasonable request. I don't see that there's an issue with it. I mean, it is growing. A little while ago, we've talked about lights, and you mentioned that the Softball Association might be able to help with that. Is that a different set of funds or the same one that would go into this? And I guess the reason I'm asking is not that we want to pick and choose, but if you had to have something, which would be the more important, the lights or the extension of the building? I don't use either one, so I'm not sure what is the most important to the Softball Association at this point in time. So not asking you to pick and choose, but I'm just wondering, were we talking about two different separate fundings or just the same?
It would be the same funds,
Okay.
yeah. So we sat down with our board and we came up with a list of things we would like to see. Lights are high, but with the shape of our storage container right now, we were hoping we could spend most of this on lights when we could just put a sea can in there because it would be inexpensive. Just drop the sea can in, done. But since that's not an option, we would have to do something like this.
CEO, I have a question for you. We do have, we are going through policy committee on the use of CCANs in the community. Will that pertain to this area as well? Thank you. Let me try again. There we go. Okay.
Yes, the general idea is we have to look at the overall status of CCANs in the city and how they're being used. And then possibly update our regulations on them. The key thing on CCANs is the safety side of it, where they're correctly vented and not storing things that are combustible and whatnot. And then obviously how they look in the environment. But it is something that's going to be coming forward over the next little while, and it would have an impact on how they're used in the community. But a lot of decisions that could be before you accept park space versus residential, all that's going to be in play.
Thank you. Councillor Egan.
Thank you. I just wanted to say I'm very impressed with your presentation. It's very well put together and you've done a great job. And my question was just going to be about the use of the CCANs too, because I would think that the artwork that you put just on the side of whatever you're using right now is brilliant. And I think that you've probably got a very creative team that would probably do something to make that CCAN look just as well.
I will say that we weren't turned down for a CCAN. It was the setback that was the issue. So it had to be 10 feet away from any existing building. And just with it being a park, 10 feet away, it would just we didn't feel that that was the way to go visually for the park. I just wanted to add that.
Counselor Ogan. Oh, hold on. Counselor Charney.
Thank you, Amy, for coming. Excellent presentation. I fully support your organization. I see it grow and grow. But I do have a problem with a private group building on public land. So you're privatizing city land. That piece of property is then lost to the city. There's lots of implications when a private organization has their own building on land. Permissive tax exemptions, insurance, things like that. I feel the responsibility falls on the city to build a facility for the softball association. And I think the city has to now take this back to budget and find money for this so that we're not running into muddy lines of who owns this, who owns that. It's very clear. It's in the park. It's a city facility used by the softball association. So my recommendation is that we go back to the budget and incorporate this into budget, and so we can accommodate your needs.
Counselor Baxter.
You talked about gas powered equipment, so that would be stored in a different area if you do build this building.
I don't remember talking about gas powered equipment. Sorry. I don't believe we own anything right now. Maybe I noted it in there. I knew that was a concern previously with some spaces with CCANs. We don't own any gas powered equipment. If we did down the road, we would know that it couldn't store there or it would be a part of the lease for sure.
Counselor Ogan.
Thank you. For staff, CAO. My understanding is quite different from Councilor Charney. So this is public property, but they are investing into this building and the ownership stays with the city. Is that correct?
CAO.
Thank you, Your Worship. It can, something like this would be the subject of a use agreement for the space. And the details of said agreement would dictate, ownership. Maybe the city does own it, who knows, they own it and lease the land there. Could be a number of different ways to go at that, but typically there'd have to be an agreement put together for either how something's funded or the use of space. So it could be a lease, for instance, of specified space.
Thank you. And now the next question and last for you. When we talk about the total project cost versus the funds that you had set aside, I want to make sure that the organization is ready to cover this expense. So I don't think that that's going to be cheap. So, and I want to make sure that if the organization failed in the grants application, so you have a backup plan for that.
So currently contractors aren't committed to giving a price until I get city approval. They're not going to look at the job. So I don't know what it's going to cost, but we're fairly confident we would be able to cover it with what we have. Grants would definitely be nicer, but yes, we're fairly confident.
Counselor Richard.
Thanks, Amy, for your presentation. I like how you presented the options, and I think building on is probably the most sensible piece so that you don't have the setback. And if your proposal is to build, provided the funds are there and receiving grants, and if we could do a lease as mentioned, if we have to be open to all sorts of suggestions to keep programmable sports for the kids. And like you say, with the other building having its issues, it may be not happening tomorrow, but we have to plan for something. I think it's great. Thanks.
Counselor Petrosi.
Thanks, Amy, for the presentation. Are you going to need access to water for cleaning equipment, anything like that? No?
No, there's currently a hose bib on the gazebo.
Okay.
So there is water.
I didn't know
but
if
we
we
won't
needed
need water.
more water, or just it's hot, even for people to drink, that type of thing. So
Yeah, I think the water fountain there
Everything is fine.
Yeah, the extra would be power. It would be really nice to get power in there, but
Yeah.
we'll look at that with budgets and stuff. We don't have power now. We just have some solar lights and that's sufficient. So it would be sufficient moving
Okay,
forward
thank you.
too. Yep.
Counselor Egan.
Thanks. My other question was just, I was a little surprised that you weren't able to get even a guesstimate from a contractor.
The ones that I've talked to, yeah. I've just talked to two just because they are sponsors of the club. So I talked to two local ones and they just kind of said, let's see what council says, see what you're looking at, and we'll go from there.
I was
So-
thinking of a ballpark figure.
Yes, yeah, that's kind of what I asked for, and he just said like it all depends. So if this city is building it, I'm sure the price will be higher because there's a lot more bureaucracy with that. He said if the club's building it, it'll be different because we'll be able to do that, and he'll be able to write off a lot of that for sponsorship and stuff as well. So I think it all just depends on how it plays out for the prices.
Thanks.
Yeah, yep.
Councillor Sharn.
CFO is not here, but Mr. Zackel is here. Mr. Zackel, do you have any funds set aside for anything like this?
Councilor Sharn, we'd have to check with the CFO and see what's in the recreational fund, but I believe there is money in there for it, but the amount, until we know numbers, I wouldn't be able to answer anything to that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Amy? So Amy, as you know, we're coming into election season here, and this is something that would be pushed to budget at this year's budget to be discussed. I think we all feel that it's a strong situation. I think it's a reasonable ask. So we would push this to budget deliberations and see where that comes out then, and then you would get some sort of an answer on which way the community to go, and that would be able to give us a clearer view of what we have in the budget for that, plus how we would work the lease agreement, et cetera. So that would be kind of covered through the budget situation. So for this one, the recommendation would be to move it for the budget for the 2027 budgets.
That's the case even if we aren't asking for any funds, if we want to take the project on. Are you saying that you suggest us ask the city for money?
I have to agree the fact that maybe this shouldn't be you take the whole project on all by yourself situation, right? Because the diamond gets used. We could go in that direction if you so wish. But if you want the city to be involved, it would have to be a budgetary measure. And, we are talking about you having X amount of dollars, but you would like lights. We would like to see lights as well to extend the season and all the rest of that. And then you would like the building extended. So one or the other. So totally your call, what you would like to see here. If we could get some guesstimations on what this would cost and go from there. But right now, we're just kind of in the discovery phase.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
So, CAO, what would be our best avenue here or CO that we would move on this at this point?
My suggestion would be if you're supporting the project, to offer your support possibly for a motion today. Council would move in that direction. That would tell us whether or not we're moving forward on working on this project one way or the other. Then we can bring proposals back one way or the other, working with the association. If you're in support of the project.
So Councillor Egan makes that motion. Councillor Etchart seconds that motion. Hold on a second. Do we have to move that to notice of motion?
So we need a resolution that's unanimous to move to that subject matter today, and then you do a resolution for the actual support.
I'd like to approve it in principle.
So we seal, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. So this is a two-step process because they're
Okay.
procedure bylaw.
Okay.
Whenever there's a delegation and they make a request of council, the first step is to receive unanimous support of council that you want to consider the request that's being put forward. The second step would be to consider the request that's being put forward. So it's two resolutions. First one is that council consider the request of the minor ball league. So that would be moved, seconded, and moved unanimously. And then the second one would be for the council consider the request.
So we have Councillor Egan, you're moving the motion for unanimous. Councillor Etchart says second. Any other questions on that? All those in favor? Everybody has to agree? Okay, good. Second motion. And the second motion would be that we are looking to accept the information.
So the second resolution is that council receive the information from the minor bowling and refer it to staff
Yep.
for consideration and reporting back.
Councillor Hogan makes that motion. Councillor Baxter seconds. Any questions on that? All those in favor? Thank you, Amy.
Thank
We'll get back to you. Nicola, 5.2 Nicola Valley Rodeo Association permissive tax exemption. Ms. Brown to present on behalf of the Nicola Valley Rodeo Association. You're up. Welcome.
Good evening,
Good evening.
Your Worship and Council. Most of you know, but for the record, my name is Linda Brown, and thank you for the opportunity to have me speak on behalf of the Nicola Valley Rodeo Association. I'm hoping you've all read the report and the document put together by our team. I'm not going to reiterate the report, but it's necessary for you to read that in order to understand our position. We are here to ask that the city reconsider the permissive property tax exemption for the NVRA and the Fall Fair at Lindley Creek Road. Specifically, we asked council to amend Schedule B of Bylaw 2380/2024 to restore a 100% exemption for both the land and the improvements. Alternatively, thank you, I got it. We ask council to provide other relief that offsets the tax burden through 2027. This is not simply a request for financial assistance. It's a request to recognize the grounds for what they are: a community recreational facility, a cultural asset, an economic driver, and an emergency resource for Merritt and the Nicola Valley. Until recently, the NVRA received a full exemption for the land and buildings. Under the current bylaw, the exemption was reduced to 50% of the land only. The buildings are no longer exempt, and our percentage of exemption has been reduced greatly. The effect has been dramatic. Our 2026 property tax bill was $17,349.46, an increase of approximately $14,000 from the previous year. Combined with city utilities that we also pay, that is approximately $4,000 annually. We're now facing more than $21,000 a year in payments to the city before we can direct resources to maintaining the facility or delivering programs. For a volunteer-run nonprofit, this is unreasonable and unsustainable. The NVRA was founded in 1959 and incorporated in 1969. It's among Merritt's oldest continuously operating nonprofits. While we are best known for the annual professional rodeo, our role extends far beyond that. The rodeo grounds are used for equine sports, clinics, competitions, community events, dog shows, festivals, movies, youth activities, and gatherings such as the RCMP musical ride, which unfortunately, due to the overcast, it was canceled this year. We make the site available to the public. We are not a private club. Membership provides virtually no special privileges, and members of the public may access the arena through day or monthly passes. Every event held at the grounds brings participants, spectators, officials, families, and visitors into Merritt. They stay, eat, shop, buy fuel, and support local businesses. The high school and Little Britches Rodeo, the Kennel Club Show, the Ranch Rodeo, clinics, musical ride, and Labor Day Pro Rodeo all generate economic activity for the community. The NVRA also protects and promotes what is distinctive about this region: its Western ranching and rodeo heritage. We help preserve an important part of the Nicola Valley's identity, including the legacy of Ty Posabon. Just as importantly, the grounds serve as an emergency shelter during wildfire and floods. We are listed with the Thompson-Nicola Regional District Emergency Operations Center and the city's emergency support services. When families must evacuate with livestock or other animals, we open our gates without charge. Volunteers provide registrations, stalls and pens, washrooms, showers, supervision, and support, often late into the night and into the early morning. That emergency function alone makes the NVRA grounds a unique community asset. The association has demonstrated responsible financial management. Recent success, if I can get my lips around my words, recent success in sponsorships and events has allowed us to set aside funds for inevitable major capital repairs. But those funds are not surplus money. They're needed for aging infrastructure, grandstands, ramps, seating, concession upgrades, equipment, arena maintenance, and secure equipment sheds. Most buildings on the site are more than 50 years old. A new groomer is expected to cost about $25,000, a replacement tractor far more than that, and painting the grandstands alone is estimated at $65,000 to $70,000. We're always repairing and maintaining our infrastructure. Our volunteers already carry the workload of preparing for events, maintaining the site, handling bookings, cleaning up, repairing facilities. This year, that workload required us to hire part-time help and a summer student. As volunteers, we're burning out. I think I can speak for all of us. We're all over 70. Young kids are not volunteering. I just heard a no. And we're not going to last forever. We respectfully ask council to consider whether the permissive exemption anticipated a 5-fold increase in our tax burden and whether that result is consistent with the city's support for community-focused nonprofits. Under the community charter, permissive tax exemptions may be provided for property owned by athletic or service associations and used as recreation grounds or for public athletic and recreational purposes. The NVRA clearly meets that purpose. We also ask that you compare the benefits of the NVRA with other recreation groups and your treatment of same. We are the only society that will pay these high taxes for the year. We are the lowest in exempt relief by every other organization on your Excel spreadsheet. We ask for comparative treatment with other recreational organizations, including those that are not on this spreadsheet, such as the Centennials, Pickleball Club, the Golf Club, tennis, baseball, and the Curling Club, among others. These organizations all bring economic benefits to the city, and we don't expect to have to be pitted against one another for our value or our worth. Without an exemption, our volunteers will not work to send our first $20,000 to the city. 2 long-term organizations will collapse. We therefore ask council to restore the full 100% exemption for both the land and the buildings. And if that cannot be done immediately, we ask council to provide an alternate form of relief that offsets that unsustainable burden. Supporting the NVRA is supporting recreation, culture, emergency preparedness, volunteerism, local business, and the heritage that makes Merritt unique. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. So what, CAO, let's wander through why this change happened. And we've got some information on how we got here, so.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. So if we remember back to fall of 2024, at that point, there was a conversation on the overall subject matter of permissive tax exemptions that netted out a change to 50% from 100%. And at the time it was land was what was described, not the improvements on the land. There was also some conversation at the time regarding the sponsorship that the city provides and whether or not we're able to do both. And that played into the decision of the 50% at the time because the legal opinion told us we were allowed to do both. And that factored into your decision making at the time. Now, at the time, taxes were in the order of about $2,100 for the property. And the next year in 2025, the decision made from the fall of 24 netted out at total taxation of $3,474, which is an increase of about $1,375, which is a far cry from where they're sitting right now. Where they're sitting right now is a result of BC assessment assessing the improvements on the property and some of them being classified as class 6 improvements, which has about a $750,000 increase to a class 6 improvement on the property, which that basically the difference in the what was at around $3,500 to about $17,000 now. So that changed from the assessment. Obviously, there's been some improvements on the property, or BC assessment hadn't really looked at it quite a while and caught up possibly on site visit or from other information. So that's why we are where we are. The generality of where we have to go from here, where your decision making would be the permissive tax exemption would require, because it's already in bylaw, would require you to bring that matter forward and ask us to do an amendment to that as requested. And we'd have to get on that fairly quickly in order to get the timelines required. The general timelines required, I did send you an email this afternoon, but basically the permissive tax exemption bylaw has to be into BC assessment by October 31st, I believe it is, or you miss the next tax year's worth of changes. So in retrospect, 2026 is essentially done. We can't change 2026. They would have had an ability to appeal their tax assessment when they got it. Sounds like that didn't happen for one reason or another, which also leads us to this point right here where some relief is being requested.
So that would have been in February. They would have been able to ask about their class 1 to class 6.
Yeah, if they're going to appeal the taxation, probably if BC assessment seeing improvements on the property, that's probably a waste of time, because BC assessment does make the decisions that you would make under the permissive tax exemption of the value to the community and the services provided. They simply deal with what things are valued at, improvements in land.
So question that I have for you, let's say we return to the 100% tax situation. The assessment still stays, the BC assessment still stays at level 6, correct?
They would likely, yes, the exemption is going to have them zero it out at the end, right? The assessment's still going to be what the assessment is on the property.
May I speak to that?
Yeah, please.
We've asked BC Assessment to review. We've been asking them now for a few months. They keep saying they're going to. But if we look at the improvements as being $750,000, that shouldn't affect the tax exemption whatsoever, because you've taken off the improvements. You've only given us exemption on the land. You have not given us exemption on the improvements. We understand that there's an issue. We shouldn't be a business. We should be a nonprofit. And we will be working on that. We didn't see it in February because, quite frankly, we didn't put a tax number to it. Once that tax number was brought to it, which was sometime in June, or whenever we got the assessment or the tax bill, that's when we realized that the assessment had changed. We look at it, we're volunteers. We didn't see that it needed to be appealed at that point in time. There's also something in the documentation that says that we as an organization were given the results or given some kind of detail on this change happening. And we don't recall ever getting notice that this was coming. So we couldn't speak to it here and we couldn't speak to it with BC assessments. So that's why we didn't go to the assessors earlier than now.
So just to be clear here, we did not set your class to 6. That was done by BC assessment.
We're aware of that.
That's where your giant tax went up. We had nothing to do with that.
We're aware of that.
I guess my question to finance would be, if we returned to 100% tax exemption, what would be the difference at this point? I'll get you to hit your mic, please.
I'd say 17,000.
If the tax exemption went on property and the improvements, then it would revert back and be back to what it was before.
So then it would go from class 6 to class 1?
I believe it would.
But would a BC assessment have to then make that change? If they chose not to make that change, if we return, could they possibly decide they're not going to make that change?
I think they would have to change it based on on our exemption.
Okay.
There's also our articles of organization that tells us we are a nonprofit, not a business. If they didn't, we would appeal it.
Okay. Council, any questions? Councilor Egan.
Thank you. I just wanted to know, on this, schedule that you just gave us, you're talking about almost $17,000. And in this report, it says for 2026, it's $583.37. So I don't. This is just the
Our
letter.
total taxes would have come to 17,000 plus this 518, which has been,
And that's,
our taxes have been reduced by that $518.
oh, that's just your reduction. Okay. Okay. And this includes, the 17,000 includes both rodeo and fall fair together?
Yes,
Okay.
we are an undivided half interest, two bodies on the same site.
Yeah.
So if the NVRA were to drop everything and not cooperate and leave everything, it would be the fall fair that would pick up all of that, and they would never be able to afford to pick that up, nor would we be able to pick up their half at this point. So either way, both organizations are in peril right now.
Councilor Charney.
Thank you for your presentation. I have a couple questions. Are you actively, do you have a written submission to BC assessment at the current time? Yes. Okay. And you did receive a $5,000 sponsorship from the city? Yes. Okay. I'm just some background on tax exemptions. A lot of communities are doing away with tax exemptions because they're the cost of operating expenses within a city, capital and operating, are increasing exponentially. And any tax dollar they can get, they're trying to keep in so that they can have infrastructure, et cetera, and reduce taxpayers. So every dollar that goes towards a tax exemption increases the taxes that an individual has to pay. That's just, I'm not saying nay or yea or anything. I'm just kind of giving some background on that. So for all of these exemptions we give, that means the taxpayers have to pick up that burden. So that's just some background information. But I hope that you get in touch with BC Assessment and see what they can do for you. And if I can speak to other places with the tax exemption, you don't have that tax exemption with organizations like softball or who else do I have on this list? A bunch of other recreational clubs that don't have land or buildings. It's only on you when you own the land. Okay.
But they also rent the facilities.
Or when you own the building only, such as in the curling club. So you've given the curling club full, 75% on their building only because that's all they own. So you've given them the building, but us the land only. Like, we're just asking for consistency here. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. I'm just going to say it, please accept the fact that we all have a part in this. And because we have a building and take care of it and pay taxes, is that any different than being another organization that is utilizing this, your parks for free or facilities? We've got pickleball that has a building and land. They don't pay taxes. They don't pay water and sewer either. When you lease a property, that's all included as part of your price. We also pay water and sewer. So we really feel that you need to do something to look at recreation as a whole. and give us a fair shake in there. It's not that we don't want to pay any taxes at all, but this we feel is really unfair.
Councillor Richard.
Given the information that we've heard tonight, I think our idea was, if we had changed the exemption, you know, if they were paying, say, 2,100 and we had seen some numbers from previous years where it was going to be around 3,500. I don't think anybody expected it to go to 17,000 with the class change. But of course, it's unpredictable to know what happens with BC assessment. And I know that their October 31st cutoff date for their valuations can be pretty definite. So I would almost wonder, if we weren't okay with doing the 100%, could we consider going to 75 so that there would be a tax amount on the building and the land if we don't do the 100? I mean, my concern is, with the information that we've been presented, what would Merritt be like without rodeo? And what would it be like without the fall fair? It wouldn't be very good, prosperous town, especially after the session that we had today on resiliency. I couldn't imagine having no fall fair, no rodeo. I mean, so I'd like to see that we could reconsider this, but even if we could do the 75%.
See, I have a question for you. What is the timeline for this to happen for the next year? When do we have to, when does the Rodeo Association have to have all this done for?
Okay, so if your goal is to move towards amending the permissive tax exemption, which is one of the requests that's been given you, you would pretty much have to deal with that tonight, so we can get the amended bylaw to you in the September meeting and get enough time to get it passed and into BC assessment's hands by the October 31st deadline. So this is pretty critical if you're moving in that direction to deal with this tonight. That particular process, similar to the building for ball, would be unanimous consent to hear the issue or go to a motion on that, and then make the motion to ask us to amend and get it in front of you for the next meeting. Like, we're down to the last wire on this second. The normal process would be, except that we have a 3-year bylaw and we're in the last year, would be they would do an application of, but they're already in the bylaw. So you're dealing with an amendment to the bylaw regardless, and that direction would have to be received.
Now, again, there's no 100% guarantee that BC assessment will change their mind on the classification. They would go on the fact that we have decided to return it to 75 or 100, and then they would base their decision on that. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, I'm not particularly 100% sure that it's a classification issue. There's been about a $750,000 increase in something that they've assessed over time. The overall assessment total has gone from 246,000 to 449,000 to 1.126 million over the last couple of years. So obviously, when you did your conversation in late 2024, you had no idea the valuations were going to change like that. You were dealing with about a $1,300 change to how you were doing permissive tax exemption for this particular group. Fast forward to over $1 million of assessment. Now that's the difference.
Councillor Hogan.
Thank you. My first question would be, your year end is December 31st, and you only provided financials for 2024. So do you have 2025 financials available?
We have financials available, but we don't have audited or accountant produced.
Yes.
And we were requested to have accountant produced.
What I'm going to say is based on your financial information provided. When I deal with tax exemptions as well as granting aids, I see the benefit first, and that's not question. So I see the benefit of the rodeo within our community. But I also need to understand the financial situation of each organization. When I review your financials, I see a growth, a better financial position year after year. My guess could be that 2025 is going to be even better than 2024. So when I see this position that the association has remained financially well capitalized, reporting assets for $1 million and only liabilities for 11,000. So I think good for you. I'm happy that at least an organization is doing that well. Not every organization in our community is doing that. Honestly, they are going through a very financial crisis. So if I don't see the need for the request again. So I'm here trying to fight for the organizations that have a request within our community, but I need to be also fighting for the other organizations that to be fair with, if I'm going to be fair with the rodeo, I need to be fair with everyone else. So I know that we have only approved 50% on the land. So there were many applications in 2024, and we approved 25%, 50%, 75%, depending on each organization needs. So when I review this information, so I wouldn't be able to provide additional support at this time. Thank you.
And if I can mention that, a lot of the funds we have are restricted funds for our grounds and work that I had talked about before. The equipment we need, we are gaining a lot of notoriety in the rodeo world. And we're being recognized as, I think we were number 6 over in Canada last year. So we're getting better and better every year. On the other hand, everything we own is getting older, and there's going to come a point where we have to replace a lot of that. And we're prepared for that ahead of time.
Councillor Sharp.
I don't think the problem really lies with the city. I think the problem lies with BC assessment. And as the CAO said, BC assessment has obviously come around. I mean, when I drive by there, I see the improvements, which I think are absolutely fantastic. You know, you now have electrical outlets for the trailers to come by. You've got the dog area, you know, you're fixing up around the stands, et cetera, et cetera. And so I think that's where the problem is BC assessment has come and they've said, wow, well, from this date to here are all the improvements. And so the value of your land has increased. So therefore, the value of the land increases, taxes increase. I personally think that's where the problem lies and not on the tax exemption. I mean, we could look at a 75%, but I don't know how much that would change with, you know, maybe something we could look into it. I don't think it's going to make much difference with BC assessment. If you leave it only on land, you're leaving 700, what is our land value compared to our land value alone is $431,000. That's what you're giving us the tax exemption on. Our buildings are the rest of the 1 million. Our total 2026 assessment was 1,440, not 1,2. That was last year's. So we're looking at $1 million in buildings that are not recognized by the city. That also is part of the city problem. It's not just assessment.
Councillor Richard.
Yeah, just adding to the comment that I was talking about earlier. Yes, on the assessment sheet, it may have the assets at a certain amount, but the building is a large part of that. And the cash assets that they have in the reserves are not very much, 84, I think. These expenses take a large chunk, and all it takes is one failure, electrical, whatever, equipment failure, tractor, and then they're canceling events. I guess that's my only thing, thinking that we really need to reconsider this. And if we don't do it now, it likely won't happen for the next tax year. And that's why I think there's a sense of urgency, because I just can't imagine Merritt without the Rodeo Association and Fall Fair. And she's willing to make a motion on that.
Hold on a second, Councillor Petrosi.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Councillor Etchart, and you know, I'm just thinking about all the extra the organization does. Just for instance, the latest fires and housing all the animals, they do a lot more than what we really think, and I think we should be reconsidering.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Councillor Richard, you have a question?
Well,
No, your light's on.
Yeah.
Okay. So just a quick question, when the fire crew is there, do they rent the property while they're there?
Yes,
Just checking. I was wondering.
but when we don't have the musical ride coming, we lose money.
So, Counselor, where would we like to go with this? I mean, if you want my honest opinion, I'd be more than happy to go back to 100%. I'm just not sure what BC assessment will do. I guess, Counselor Rogan.
Okay, so seems to me that there is an appetite of providing additional assistance right now to the rodeo. So based on the information provided, also seems to me that if we go with a 25% additionally to the land, it's not going to have the same impact as if we include certain percentage to the building. So I think that it could be more beneficial for the rodeo if we approve something to the building. So if we have approved maybe the 25% that Councilor HR is recommending to add on top of the 50, maybe we can go with 25% or 50% in both. So that is going to be the biggest impact for the rodeo.
And if I can negotiate that, I would.
I got a hammer here.
I would point you to the Merritt Curling Club, that you've given them 75% on a building. Just saying.
Yeah, we have, and we make different decisions for every group. It's just the way it goes. Yeah.
We're asking for comparative.
CEO.
Thank you, Your Worship. So what I've got right here in the current 2026 property tax notice amounts to about $235,000 or $233,000 of land, and the rest of it's in improvements. So if you're doing the math on that, to your point, you can see where that is on the building. The building itself, the buildings are improvements as it were, for $758 plus the $142. So it's almost $900,000 in improvements. So that's got to probably factor in your decision on where the balance is between land and buildings.
Councilor Richard again.
I just wanted to clarify, my whole idea was doing the building. With the class 6, if they don't change the classification of the building, which if you've said anything through BC assessment in any kind of session, it's not likely that they're going to change. Once you're stuck with a class, I can't imagine them changing anything very easily. And that's why I think it's key that we change it sooner than later. And I'd like to do building and land. That was my request in case it wasn't clear. I'm in support of
What's the percentage
75 at least.
on both?
Yeah.
So just to let you know how things work on TNRD, later last year, BC assessment decided to pull the tax base off of where the pipeline was running through every community. And that would have ruined communities, absolutely ruined them. We were in tight on that one as well.
On average of 40% increase.
And that took us 11 months to get them to even talk to us. The first time they talked to us, they basically were as rude as they could be. So we do have a motion here from, would you like to make the motion, Councilor Richard? Make the motion, please. Oh, see ya.
Thank you, Your Worship. So for a matter of formality, similar to what we did with the ball building, we need a unanimous motion from council to deal with the motion, and then you make the second motion. Okay, parts again.
Okay, so Councilor Richard, would you like to make a motion about unanimity? Sure, go ahead, Councilor.
Unfortunately, CFO isn't here. Let's say $18,000, when you're looking at $100,000 to 1% tax increase. We're talking about how much it's going to affect the taxpayers. I don't think it's going to affect us that much. Am I wrong?
Nope.
CEO.
Yeah, I believe the number we came up with recently was 1% is about $125,000. So you shift the decimal place down to 17 or so, and you're in that ballpark of no.
1.1.
Yeah.
So make your motion.
No.
Oh, Charlie, Councilor Charlie.
I think that maybe including building is appropriate, but I think 75, I know the curling club, but they're not assessed on land. So if we did 50% on building, 50% on land, I think that would even it out. Because a lot of these are just land, not buildings. So if we did 50-50, I think that would even it out. And then it's in the hands of BC assessment, which we don't have any control over, but we could try to make a difference.
Councillor Richard.
While I agree with that statement, the class 6 classification is taking the tax rate quite a bit higher, just like residential is class 1. Typically residential is, whatever, $4.80 per thousand. The class 6, I don't know what the multiples are, but they are higher, quite a bit higher than the residential. And that is why I was more in favor of going with a higher percentage, because if we given an exemption similar to that of the, not that we're comparing organizations, but I think we'll end up at a very similar number to what we were receiving of tax a couple years ago by doing the 75-75, because the class 6 tax rate is substantially higher than the class 1. And that's my reasoning for going with that.
Mr. Attorney.
I'm just trying to make a balance between trying to help the rodeo association and increasing the taxes for the taxpayers. Just trying to make a bit of a balance.
Councillor Ogan.
I just want to say that I would be comfortable with 50-50.
Thank you. So first thing we have to do is have the unanimous decision. Oh, Councillor Baxter.
I'm with Councillor Charney and Councillor Ogan. I'm okay with 50-50. Because we shouldn't be comparing organizations in this town. Every organization in this town is unique to their situation. And when it's off balancing when you go and bring in other organizations that have their own thing.
Thank you. Councillor Egan.
Thank you. I agree with Councillor Etchart, because I really think that the Rodeo Association does something. They go above and beyond
So let's.
all year round.
So let's go to the unanimity, just to make sure we're going to be unanimous about moving forward with the rate we would like. So, Councillor Etchart, Seal.
Thank you, Your Worship. I was just going to suggest a possible resolution could be that council consider the request of the Nicola Valley Rodeo Association at this meeting. And then if you're voting on that,
Yeah.
we would have a mover and a seconder, and that would need to be unanimous,
Yeah.
and then the resolution can be brought up to the floor for the next step.
Councillor Etchart, is that, you're cool with that? Need a seconder? Councillor Ogan? All those in favor? Opposed? So can you explain what we just did? So those who are not too sure what we just did?
Thank you, Your Worship. So our council procedure bylaw stipulates that when a delegation comes forward and that delegation makes a request, typically what would happen is that that request would come forward at the next council meeting. By passing a unanimous resolution to consider it this evening, you're able to consider the request tonight. Pass a resolution tonight that would give direction to staff, which we could bring forward at the next meeting to move this forward exponentially.
Thank you. So the next question we move into is what we would like to see on land and buildings. Somebody, Councillor Chern.
I make a motion that we do 50% land, 50% buildings.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Ogan. Questions on that? All those in favor? Opposed? Defeated. New motion. Don't get emotional, just make the motion.
75% land and building.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Petrosi. Any questions on that? Seal.
Thank you, Worship. Just for clarification for the minutes, my understanding is that the resolution is that staff be directed to bring forward a bylaw that would amend the permissive tax exemption for 2027 to change the Nicola Valley Rodeo Association's permissive tax exemption at a rate of 75%.
Well, that's what's on the table right now.
And 75% for buildings.
That correct. That's what's on the table.
Exactly what he said.
That's what's on the table.
Just for clarification for the minutes.
Thank you. I was going to get you to explain that after we went through, but that's okay. Councillor Etchart, any question? Your mic is on.
No, I'm just ready for the vote.
Those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So hopefully PC assessment sees and makes decisions. And you know what? if, you know, you need help from the city with BC assessment, be more than happy to help you, because when the other communities joined together about the declassification of the pipelines, had we not joined together as one, we never would have gotten it. We never would have, it would never have happened. Now, they've
We
only
also
put
dealt
us,
with them during COVID.
yeah, and they've only given us basically a 1-year bypass. This is still going to be a fight that comes our way. So keep us posted on how that looks like. But again, we have no authority with BC assessment.
I understand.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your presentation. All right, here we go. 5.3, Tourism Nicola Valley. Mr. Gerard to present on behalf of Tourism Nicola Valley. Get you to hit your mic there. Holy moly. And you're up.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, City, staff for giving us the opportunity here to speak to you. My name, if you don't know, is Greg Gerard. I'm with the A Canada Marketing Group. I'm also a tourism strategist for Tourism Nicola Valley. Let's be clear about something right from the start. We are not here to simply talk about tourism. We are here to talk about Merritt's economy. Tourism isn't just about visitors taking pictures, riding trails, staying in hotels, or grabbing lunch. Tourism is an economic engine. It brings new money into Merritt. It puts people through the doors of our restaurants. It fills our hotels and our campgrounds. It supports local retailers. It creates jobs, and it strengthens the very recreational assets that make people want to live here. And it gives travelers a reason to do something incredibly important: exit Highway 5. And once they exit that highway, our job is to give them a reason to stay. But here's what gets exciting. Merritt has barely scratched the surface for its tourism potential. We have the landscapes, we have the history, we have the trails, we have the lakes, we have the culture, we have the events, we have the stories, and we have something even more valuable. We have a community with a story worth stopping for. Today, we want to show you what Tourism Valley has already accomplished. We want to show you what is happening right now. And we want to show you what becomes possible when we stop thinking of tourism as simply as a marketing expense and start seeing it as for what it really is: an investment in Merritt's economic future. Because every visitor who steps in our community is an opportunity. Every hotel night is an opportunity. Every restaurant meal is an opportunity. Every trail ride is an opportunity. Every business transaction is an opportunity. And when we get this right, tourism doesn't just bring people to Merritt, it brings dollars to Merritt. It creates opportunity for Merritt businesses, it creates jobs, and it helps build the kind of community people just don't want to miss. But choose to want to come back. So today isn't simply a tourism presentation. It's a conversation about growth. It's a conversation about traveler education. It's a conversation about investment. It's a conversation about jobs, visitors, and the future of our community. And most importantly, it's a conversation about Merritt, what it could become if we truly unlock the tourism potential that's been sitting in our backyard for so long. Next slide, please. A destination's greatest asset is a community that supports it. There are thousands of examples just in British Columbia of successful tourism strategy with good community support. This isn't just a nice tourism quote. The research backs it up. In that little research paper I sent you, this is based off Destination BC's actual trends, traveler habits, and the way tourism is growing. In it, I explain the opportunity for Merritt and Nicola Valley to some extent of all the holes we have and all the opportunity we have. What does that matter to Merritt? Because visitors spend money. At the gas station, at the hotel, at the local attraction. When we support tourism, we're not simply spending money to bring visitors to Merritt. We're investing in an economic sector that brings outside new money to Merritt. We are not recycling our money as locals. We are bringing a new economy. We are developing a new economy. We are creating a new economy. Next slide, please. On January 24, 2023, Merritt City Council formally endorsed Tourism Nickel Valley as the DMO for the city of Merritt. The agreement included an annual city contribution, which now we are working on with the city. That was 3.5 years ago. So the question today isn't whether Tourism Nickel Valley has proven their worth. It has. The question is this: how has the community benefited? Since that agreement, Tourism Nickel Valley has been working not only on marketing Merritt, but on building the tourism assets, the tools, the infrastructure that make Merritt as much of a more attractive destination. And that distinction is extremely important. Marketing tells people about a destination. Destination development gives them a reason to come. So it's twofold. Over the next slides, we want to show you what has been built, developed, and delivered since 2023. Next slide, please. What we are showing you is a tourism development work that has been undertaken through our funding sources, our grants, our partnerships, and people we work with other organizations within the tourism community. That is important because it demonstrates something else. There has been significant investment happening in Merritt since the acknowledgement of TNV as a DMO in January 2023. Tourism Nickel Valley has helped support development across 3 important winter and shoulder season assets: mountain biking, trail signage, boardwalks, jumps, beams, banks, staging areas, maps, repair stations. With mountain biking improvements, we are now having 3 events annually. Snowmobiling, 2 new groomers, radios, staging area signage. We are now having 4 events annually. Cross-country skiing, trail upgrades, bridges, grading, staging, and signage. And the work isn't limited to trails. Merritt has also gained a tour bus, highway advertising, a digital sign, the Moose Academy online training library, and the Experience Merritt website. These aren't just tourism brochures or marketing campaigns. They're community assets. They can be used by residences, by businesses, organizers, and visitors. Because before we can sell an experience, we have to make sure the experience is ready to sell. And that is what we've been focusing on, is building our assets. Our goal isn't to become a place for people to drive through. It is to become a place people drive to. That's where tourism becomes economic development. Next slide, please. Now let's move on from what happened to what is happening. Tourism Nickel Valley enters 2026 with a current 2026-27 marketing and business plan. We have a plan. We're not shooting off our hip. We have a plan based on our abilities and based on the assets we have. We also have an experienced membership package. So people who do sign up to promote and save and support tourism, we are able to explain to them, here's your value for your dollar. Here's what we are prepared to do to help your business. The matter becomes tourism growth shouldn't be based on throwing a few ads onto Facebook. So where does that leave us? We have a plan. We have a business ready to participate. We have the attractions, events, trails, lakes, mountains. What we need to know is to treat tourism for what it is: economic development with a checkout counter. Because every visitor who stays another night, eats another meal, fills another tank, buys another souvenir or book, another experience, is putting money into a local business. Statistics show $1 into a community from a new economy generates $3. So it's a winning situation. So the question isn't whether Merritt can afford to invest in tourism. The better question should be, can we afford not to? Because visitors aren't already driving through our community. They are. Our job is to give them a reason to stop, stay, and spend, and hopefully come back. And if we do that right, they won't just remember Merritt. They'll leave a little money behind to help us improve the next experience when they come. Next slide, please. One of the biggest opportunities for Merritt is getting visitors to stop and then giving them reasons to stay longer. The new downtown sightseeing walking app planned for fall to South 2020 is designed to do exactly that. Visitors will be able to discover our murals, walk the stars, custom tours. So if they want to know all the restaurants, they want to know all the pubs, they want to know all the parks, they could set up a custom tour. And then they can also set up a gift shop downtown shopping tour. These apps are expensive to maintain, but many apps will do the job if maintained properly. But the important part is the live community feed. This app is going to feed into a live community feed, which means tourism, businesses, locals, travelers, visitors will be able to put up content onto this feed. Because tourism has changed. Visitors don't just want a brochure, they want to know what's happening today, where should I go, what should I see? These are all things we're going to be able to achieve. The goal is simple: get people out of their vehicles, onto the streets, and into our businesses. And if we could turn a 20-minute stop into a 2-hour stop, if we put our bar real low, we could still generate a lot of money into our businesses, which will then transfer into our economy, which then will help us develop a new economy. Next, please. Merritt has an extraordinary advantage. We don't have to convince people to find us. They're already driving past us. The challenge is convincing them to stop. That's why these 2 new highway billboards matter. Our targets traffic on the Kamloops Connector and Highway 5. The other sign is on the Oakland Connector on Highway 97C. The message is deliberately simple. Adventure ready, sun, saddle, song, and snow. Merritt does it all. We're reminding travelers that Merritt isn't just somewhere between 2 destinations. We are building Merritt as a destination. Other small towns have done it, so Merritt can do it as well. And that's a critical shift, because every vehicle that passes Merritt represents a potential customer. And let's be honest, Merritt has spent years watching traffic fly past us. Maybe it's time we stopped waving at it and started giving it a reason to pull over. Because a passing vehicle is traffic. A vehicle that stops is tourism. Next slide, please. The Merritt Fund Map is another example of turning tourism promotion into a local economic tool. We've identified 40 points of interest, printed 12,000 maps, placed them in 27 locations, and created advertising opportunities for 30 of our businesses who are supporting tourism in the Nickel Valley. It's our way of rewarding our members and saying thank you for all your support. And importantly, the map was created by a local artist, Astra Sneed, because we try to keep all this money back into our local economy, because $1 creates $3. This isn't simply a map. It's a way of putting local businesses who support tourism directly in front of visitors. The visitors pick up the map, they see an attraction, they see a restaurant, they see a rental business, they see a local business, they see something else they didn't know was here, and suddenly the question changes from where can I go to what else can I do while I'm here? This is how destination development works. One experience leads to another. That experience leads to another. That experience leads to another. More money is spent in our community. And if we do it right, the only thing staying in town more than the visitor is their money. The Visitor Welcome Center is where all this comes together. The welcome team, we have brought in some people to help us out, is open from Wednesday through Sunday from noon till 4. It provides visitors with advice, souvenirs, access to attractions, all within the beautiful building we call the Hall of Honor, which is Merritt's biggest attraction in town. But there is a bigger opportunity here. The Visitor Center should not simply answer the question, where is the bathroom? It should answer, what can I do in Merritt? Where can I eat? What trails are open? What's happening tonight? Where should I see before I leave? And when I should come back to experience more? We are not an info center. Let's make this clear. The Bailey House is, okay? We are a visitor conversion center. That's our job. They walk through our door, we send them to the businesses send them to a business and another business. We are not an info center. The objective is to convert curiosity into activity, activity into spending, and spending into longer stays and repeat visits. Next slide. Now let's look at the people who are actually coming through our door. Between July 10th, August 15th, the Welcome Center in a very short period of time had 123 visitors. And look at where some of these visitors are coming from. United Kingdom, Scotland, Israel, Japan, Brazil, Germany, New Zealand, Australia, Mexico, United States, Quebec, Alberta, Victoria, Vancouver. And yes, Merrittonians too have come in to visit us because now we have secured our hours. This is important because it demonstrates something very clearly. Merritt is already attracting a remarkable diverse visitor audience. These aren't hypothetical customers. They're people who have physically arrived in Merritt, walked through the door looking for experiences. And one particular interesting observation, not one of these 123 recorded visitors was making a bathroom stop. They came because they wanted to do something in our community. They were there for attraction, experience, and things to do. Now, 123 visitors is not a scientific survey. It isn't. And we shouldn't pretend it is. But what it is this. It's a very useful snapshot of the potential we have in this community if we convert the people who are coming into dollars. It tells us that people from around the world are already curious enough about Merritt to stop and engage. Our job now is to get them more reasons to stay. It's refreshing to know bathrooms aren't our biggest attraction. That's great news for tourism, and it's especially great news for the person who has to clean our bathroom. Next slide, please. And that brings us back to where we're here. Tourism is about getting people to visit Merritt so we can put another number on a visitor report. We're thinking way bigger than that. It's about getting outside dollars into our local economy. We need more people in our hotel rooms, eating our meals, getting a tank, fishing guide, bike rentals, all of this is available. They aren't just visitor experiences. They're local economic activity. We need to build Merritt's tourism economy, one that fits our community, our businesses, our landscape, and the people who live here. So our question to Mayor and Council isn't simply, will you help and fund and support tourism? It's, what role does Council want tourism to play in Merritt's economic future? Because if tourism is an economic sector, and the numbers tell us that, the report tells us that, then maybe it's time we stop treating it like a nice to have and start treating it like economic development with a checkout counter. The objective isn't to move visitors for the sake of more visitors. That's not the way that tourism works. It's more stops, more stays, more spending, and more reasons to come back, because we don't need more people driving through Merritt. We need more people stopping in Merritt, spending in Merritt, and coming back to Merritt. And that takes education, that takes conviction, that takes knowledge of your home community, and to understanding the needs of your locals and the needs of the businesses in this community. And if we get that right, they won't just leave with a great memory. They'll leave some money behind to help us build the next thing that's going to bring them here. So thank you for your attention. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Could we go back to the second or third slide, please?
Yep.
Next one, next one, next one. This one. So, just want to be clear here. Sitting on council for 4 years, we've given Merritt Snowmobile Club close to $15,000 for sea cans, cameras up on Honeymoon. We've given the mountain bike close to $10,000 to cut new trails and everything else like that. So we've been very involved with tourism as well.
Excellent.
Hasn't just been you guys. We've been involved a lot.
Excellent.
And we continue.
We're not saying that we're the only thing.
but
We're not saying we're the only game in the house.
We continue to be. So, good presentation. Don't disagree with you. Every community needs a source of tourism, and I'll leave that with council. Councillor Chairman.
Thank you for your presentation. It was excellent. I just came back from a 5-week trip up to Dawson City, and my motto is, every time I stop, I buy something.
Perfect.
Even if it's a chocolate bar.
Perfect.
So I try to support local as much as I can, get a lot of Christmas shopping done. I just wanted to ask, I know one of your goals is to make, you were saying that most people come for one night only, and you're trying to extend that to 2 and 3 nights. Do you think you have accomplished that? And if you have, do you have any evidence?
No, because I think we are on the right track to accomplish that.
Okay.
To build a tourism economic industry takes on average, based on stats and based on reports, about 8 years to get to a point where we can be another, whatever, Golden, Revelstoke, whoever you want to compare it to. Right now, it usually says it takes 3 to 4 years. For first thing, we were a little behind the ball because what we had are assets that weren't sellable. So we had mountain bike trails with no trail signage, no mapping, no nothing, none of that stuff. So we weren't able, people were coming and getting lost on our trails. They were getting our ramps, our bumps. So we had to improve that. Secondly, our snowmobile, we're going to about lose a groomer. If we lost a groomer, we wouldn't have snowmobile trails. So we had to invest in getting new equipment, new signage, new staging area for that. Same with cross country. We had no signage. People were getting lost between snowshoeing trails and cross country. We needed a groomer. They needed a warming shelter. They needed a new bridge. All this stuff was that. So when we did this, the object was to get our assets in a position where we could sell them and market them with full confidence. That's where we are right now.
What about our lakes? How are
Lake-
you advertising our lakes
Yep.
for fishing?
Lakes a Day is huge. Our objective for that is what we would like to do with our lakes is one, we need to educate, especially the 604, that when they come, because and I was just talking with Paul on this, when they come to fish, they come and fish and they go back home. But a lot of time what happens, they don't understand that we have a ton of recreational lakes. They could go do 2 lakes a day. They could camp for $7 to $14 a night on a recreational site if their budget's an issue. And right now, we just had this year, I think it was this year or the end of next year, we finally got a fishing guide in our town. We don't have any guides. We don't have any tours. That's an issue. But in order to do that, we got to figure out a revenue model that works so they can do it without having financial stress, because it's very tough. Insurance is extremely high on any type of tour or guide. So the lakes, definitely we're working on that. We have on our website, we have a section just about our lakes. So we have all our main lakes there. So we're promoting our lakes on our site. It's not bumped into parks or trails. It's a section just about lakes. And in that section, we talk about fishing, camping, ATVing, horseback, equestrian, hiking, windsurfing if it's Nicola Lake, another opportunity there. So there's a lot of opportunities where we could build our industry. We don't have to have a lot of investment. But what we could do, say for windsurfing, the lake's there, Nicola Lake has the wind. We just got to tell people you can come here and here you can windsurf. The windsurfer addicts, you can see them on the little point on Nicola Lake once in a while where they'll conglomerate and you'll have kite surfers, you have windsurfers, and all of them are on there. But they know the spots, they're educated. What we got to do is get the clubs within BC to understand what we have. And that's where the next step is. Once you build your assets, it's about building influencers to come in, getting better type of events coming in, contact all the clubs, go down and present to the clubs, offer contests to the clubs, all these things that get them up here, because the best advertising for tourism is word of mouth, because you trust that advertising. Your best friend says, go here to mountain bike. I just went there. It's great. You don't doubt your best friend. You're going to go there. So if we could get all the windsurfers or all the mountain bikers or all these events like we just had, that's starting to build. And you can see that in the mountain biking, people that are signing up for our events and mountain biking has increased, snowmobiling has increased. So everything's starting to increase.
Okay, one last question. Your fund map, you say it's paper. Are you going to get that digital?
We have it digital, and eventually, yes, we will have it on the map. We'd also like to maybe even use it down the road is to have a puzzle and also to have posters.
Good, thank you.
Councilor Petrosi.
Thanks for the presentation. I was actually just up in Whitehorse myself, so actually ran into Councillor Charney for a couple of days. Their visitor center in Whitehorse is incredible. Their personnel there get you excited about visiting the community. And anyway, I just wanted to mention that it starts with the visitor center for sure.
Yep.
And the people you have working there. You and I talked earlier that it's almost a curse that we're so close to Vancouver because people just want to come up for a day. It's so close they can come up for a day of mountain biking, fly fishing like I've done when I used to live down there. How do we get them to stay? Like you said, how do we get them to stay another night?
Yeah.
Offering coupons at restaurants or something to try to
there-
get them to stay.
Yeah, there's a lot of programs we can implement to try and increase our average stay, because the reason I like to say we want to increase our average stay is because we already have the visitor. All we gotta do is educate them to stay twice. It's not like we have to go and sell that visitor to come to Merritt. They're already here. So when they're here, if we could put in a good educational plan or a contest, or like you said, like contact the fishing clubs, which we haven't done and we should, and get them to come up, maybe have a fishing tournament, bring West David back. That was successful. But bringing it, tourism is all about education and hitting the target market you want. Too many tourism groups do a blanket marketing and they're just trying to fish out there to get any type of visitor in here. Well, we're not going to get visitors to come here, say for a Broadway play. That's not our niche. So we don't need to appeal to that group. We need to appeal to say, and I've always said this since day one, since I've fell in love with tourism. The best customer to attract to a small town is a family of four. They spend a lot, they buy a lot, and they're a lot easier to sell because their kids gotta be busy. What's the best way to keep your kid busy? Take them fishing, take them mountain biking, take them ATVing, get them out on the trails, go to camp out in Lumbum, go camp at Harmon, all these things. So the family of four is the key market. And too many times businesses or communities are trying to blanket and just trying to get anyone to come here. The problem with that is you attract people here where we don't provide them what they want, then they go out and they're spreading bad information. That's wrong. That's negative marketing. We don't want that. You bring people here that are interested in our assets, they'll go out and tell everybody, and then boom, they'll go. And one thing at our welcome center, and you're more than happy to send a ghost visitor, do whatever you want. But when they walk in, we get out from behind our desk, we greet them right there. We ask them where they're from, why they're here, what do they like to do, and then we point them, and then we tell them about the history of country music. They go around the hall, they're impressed because it's a beautiful building. They come back around to us, and then we show them the map, we show them where to go, what restaurants to go to. I've referred them many times to Grand Pub, I've referred them to UK Spice because they're close, and boom, here we go, and they're off. That's what we need to do. Visitors do not get excited about your community if the people they meet aren't excited about their community. How can we even expect them to be excited? So when they come and they meet with us, especially with the ones that we have in there, if you come in on Wednesday, that's my day, I'll blow your socks off. I'm bouncing off the roof. I'm talking my mouth off to everyone that comes in because I want them to stay 3 days. I want them to go to Dana's restaurant. Then I want them to go to UK and get something. Then I want them to go to a coffee shop. Then I want them to go to just Jen and buy a metal thing for their home. That's my job, is to get them excited.
Yeah. Just one other thing, we were in Salmon Arm back in May and they had these freestanding kiosks.
Yeah.
Touch screen.
Yeah.
Food, restaurant.
Yeah.
I saw them again in Whitehorse and I thought we, maybe think about installing a few of those in town. Maybe it's an idea. Just to get people moving around.
It's a brilliant idea.
So-
What we were doing, the company we got our digital sign from actually has those units in there. And we were talking to them and finding out how they all work and everything. We can actually use those units, tie it into our current software, and we can actually offer those units without buying the software or without buying the unit to control all the programming. And we can actually tie it into the digital sign. So you're saving a little bit there. Secondly, because we've spent money with them, they're definitely a lot more lenient to give us a better price point on any type of the units. But yeah, they're extremely, extremely valuable. But with those things, like you notice in Salmon Arm and Dawson, it's strategically positioned. You got first thing you got to do is understand your visitor traffic numbers. How are they moving around our city? Like it's useless for me to put over here if our traffic ain't even hitting there. What we got to figure out is where are visitors, exactly the routes they're taking on foot, by vehicle, and then put these right in front of them so they can't miss that.
Councilor Oak.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. It was always good. So as always.
I didn't scare anyone this time.
Sorry. I want to thank you all the board of directors because I know all the time that you guys are spending, all the work that has been done for the past few years. All the presentation is good. I was, familiar with what you have been accomplishing. I want to talk about the other side of the table. I want you to talk a little bit about your challenges. So what are the main challenges that you are going through as an organization? I want you to talk about, your financial situation. I want you to talk about the planning. So right now it's winter is, around the corner.
Yep.
Have you worked on marketing material for winter? Do you have the resources to do that? All those challenges, if you don't mind expanding.
My experience shows when winter tourism is, because that's definitely something we have to build as our off seasons, because we can't rely our stores on 3 months of the year. Summer is now not a guarantee. Okay, that's every town's talking. If your tourism decides on 3 months in summer, you're in bad shape because it's not a guarantee 3 months anymore. What everyone's talking about now is if you have a good summer, that's a bonus, not a guarantee. So what do you have to do? You have to build your shoulder seasons when there isn't our challenges. So you've got 3, 4 or 5 months there that we can build. So when it comes to winter tourism, we would love to have more print. We'd love to have a better presence online. We'd love to have packages. Here's the issue. It's all in our plan, but it all takes money. You can't build these things by just flipping a coin, and you can't do it on volunteer hours. It's too much. So you have to have the money to build out your assets online and in print. One of our most successful print materials that we built was the mountain biking map and these things. Gas stations are already gone. I have to go refill them, and they've only had them a month. So the gas stations are giving out left and center. The mountain bike map, we've taught the Best Western, it's the best map. They can't keep it in there. So in your question, for our financials, we have done a lot with very little, and we've relied on grants. Anyone who's writing grants nowadays for tourism knows they're none. There's zippo for tourism. They basically have stopped them all. Now it's a whole different focus. And I get it because we have different challenges. But for businesses like us in tourism, we relied on grants to get the ball rolling. What happens is, and as you all know, when you have a grant, you are set in the where you can spend it and how you can spend it and who you can spend it. There's no variation. This is because you wrote the grant saying this I'll spend, and with who and who. So when we look at our winter, we're saying we have a huge opportunity for winter. We have best ice fishing in BC. Ask anyone. We have the best ice fishing. No cost there. Bring your stuff, go ice fishing. We have lakes, do it. But you need money to market it. You need money to educate people. You need money to run a tournament. You need money to do all that. Now you can run money in tournaments and you can make money if it's done right off a tournament, but you still need the startup. What we're lacking in our financials is startup. Funding to get things moving. I've said it many times. All we want is a runway. Give us a runway and we'll take off. Just give us a runway. We'll take off. We have the skills, we have the talent, we have the people. I think we have one of the best boards I've ever been on, very proactive. And I think we have the brains and the skills to make it happen. But when it comes to finances, yeah, we're strapped just like everyone else in this community. Every group is strapped. There's no doubt about it. What we're saying is, yes, we might be a little bit financially challenged. But the nice thing about tourism is when you bring money in, $1 makes 3. Every time. So let us bring that $1 in, help us bring that $1 in, and we'll give you 3 back.
Councillor Charney?
Hiking trails.
Yeah.
Do you have hiking trails in your maps?
We have hiking trails on this. We have hiking trails on the website. We've got them all on there as well.
So I'm looking for specific hiking trails. Like my grandson goes up these mountains and then he camps at the top of the mountains.
No,
Do we have anything like that in our, do you have anything like that to go up the mountain?
We have unofficial ones. We don't have any official ones.
Okay.
What we don't, well, and that's a very good point. There's an opportunity with all our land, if we had time, money, that if we built a backpacking circuit, then you bringing in a whole different crowd, especially with our lakes. You can backpack, fish, and camp and have a circuit. I'll give you an example. Anyone done the Bowron Lakes? Okay. There are a group of lakes that are in Wells, BC. Wells has a population of 250. Balron Lakes is a system they brought in where they put money and they made a canoe circuit out of their lakes. It brings in 3 times more than the community brings in. It is the #1 rated canoe route in BC, and you have to book a year ahead. One attraction funded the whole area. Because if you make a really good attraction, so say a backpacking trail with tent pads on the top and have an out toilet, very low maintenance, don't have to have high maintenance. Because one of the nice things about backpackers, most of them respect the nature, respect the area. They don't litter, they don't abuse, they don't wreck. These things, if you did bring a backpacking, the nice thing is if you built the proper way of doing it, you could have it where the start and finish are actually going to be in economic areas where they will spend money. I've done the West Coast Trail 3 times. The one thing I do when I come off that West Coast Trail is I spend a lot of money on a big meal. I get a lot of liquid. I buy a shirt. And then I have to, if there's anything I need to go and finish, if I have to go finish or go back and go hike back in or do something, there's a shop there that has all their hiking equipment. So you can actually tailor it and make it so you can generate new income. You can generate a new attraction. We have lakes, perfect for a canoe route. If we could work that, I know there's Crown land, all that stuff, lots of stuff to deal with. But in BC, there's only, there's Balron, there's Murray Lakes, and then there's one in Campbell River, 3 canoe routes in BC. All of them, you got to book a year ahead.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Gerard. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm gonna come and see you on Wednesday and watch you bounce off those walls.
Do it.
Be there. Yeah, no, thank you. Moving on, unfinished business, 6.1 temporary use permit, 2751 Nicola Avenue. We have a recommendation that council direct staff to provide extension for the temporary use application at 2751 Nicola Avenue for a period of 6 months. Councillor Baxter, Councillor Petrosi, questions on this? Councillor Baxter.
How close are you to being within compliance for all the things that was asked of you?
You'll have to come to the front.
Yeah, I'm Leanna from the Nicola Valley Shelter and Support Society. I'm community engagement and communications coordinator for them. So your question, we actually have been in communication with several different agencies to get in compliance with the recommendations that were brought forward in the letter. And just very recently, we were reached out to CST, which is a traffic engineering company. And unfortunately, their office was in Summerland and they were impacted by the wildfires. Anyway, they did actually complete a traffic survey. We are waiting for the results. Just on road improvements, a recommendation for a crosswalk and various things that Interior Health put forward. And we expect it this week. So as far as I understand, once we get that report, we will have met all the recommendations that have been brought forward. So.
Councillor Richard.
Yeah, no, I was just wondering, with the improvement in lighting, do you expect that you'd have quite a few number of people to go into this facility? Because I think the unit upstairs has something like 10 or 12 or so many rooms.
Yeah, the current building at 2751 Nicola Avenue has, I believe, has nine units or 10 units that we would at this point hope to develop. We understand that there is some recovery housing within the city of Merritt. Ours looks a little different because we're looking for a longer term span. And so our goal, of course, is to work with other agencies within the city of Merritt to complement the services that are already here. So for instance, a partner agency who runs a recovery housing, they have a 90-day program. And our program would be 12 to 24 months. So therefore, anyone coming out of that 3-month term would be able to move or transition into ours, and vice versa. There might be opportunity for us to send there first and come there. But based on what we know, and with the people that are currently staying at the shelter, we know that the facility would be full.
I originally objected to the location. I still have a problem with the location directly across from the drug drug shelters, sorry. And one of your comments originally when you presented was you wanted the residents to stay local. Well, you know, if I get cancer or I get a heart problem, I have to leave the community. So you know, it's not just drug rehabilitation that, you know, have to stay in town. Every other medical issue, people do have to leave town. And we do have Logan Lake, the center there, and it's usually half empty. So I do have a problem with using staying local as one of the reasons for having this shelter.
Any other questions? So we have a mover and a seconder. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Defeated. Thank you. Thank you very much. Bylaws, 7.1, council remuneration bylaw number 24262026. Recommendation that the city of Merritt council remuneration bylaw number 24262006 be read a first time. Councillor Petrosi, Councillor Ogun. Any questions on this? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Recommendation that the city of Merritt council remuneration bylaw number 24262026 be read a second time. Councillor Baxter, Councillor Hogan. Any questions on this? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Recommendation that city of Merritt council remuneration bylaw number 24262026 be read a third. Councillor Petrosi, Councillor Etchart, any questions on this? Councillor Hogan.
I just want to clarify, when I see social media, I think that there is a lot of misinformation that this is not for the current council. This is for future council. So whoever the council is going to be, this is going to be applicable to them.
Correct. Doesn't matter what you do, you're going to get that anyway. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. 7.2, 2026 fees and charges bylaw update. We have some recommendation that the city of Merritt fees and charges amendment bylaw number recommendation that the city of Merritt fees and charges amendment bylaw number 24272026 be read a first time. Councillor Ogun, Councillor Petrosi, any questions on this? Those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Recommendation that the city of Merritt fees and charges amendment bylaw number 24272026 be read a second time. Councillor, where is my, Councillor Baxter, Councillor Ogun, any questions on this? Councillor Etchart.
In the presentation here, I see that there was some recommendations to do 5% on a various number of fees, and some of them were the Civic Center, and I think I also noticed that under the sewer and garbage, we had decided that like in the fee charting that we were going to do 50% for a house with suite, and when you look at the listing, it's still at the 75. So I was wondering if that was going to be updated. Because I know at Policy Review Committee, we had talked about if we could review that to be, instead of it being a house with suite for sewer and garbage, instead of it being 75% additional for one suite, look at 50%. We had talked about that at Policy Review. That was supposed to come to council. Well, we had talked about it, and I know that there was other people. Well, anyway.
CO, do we have that anywhere where it was going to be a recommendation to council? So we don't.
Thank you, Your Worship. I don't recall that as part of the conversation from the policy committee. So
it may have been a conversation, but it was never moved to be moved
it
forward.
wasn't a formal resolution.
Okay.
We went through with what was discussed and what was suggested. And that's what we
Well,
brought
then
forward.
maybe it wasn't noted properly, but the bottom line is that right now you have sewer with maybe a 5-bedroom house and somebody builds an in-law suite for a family member, and then they're paying an extra 75% for the same sewer pipe with the same square footage. And so I thought Councillor Ogan was at that meeting because I remember saying, you know, it's a 75% increase when it could be the same amount of humans living in the home and you made that privacy space. So they're being penalized the extra 75% on the sewer and garbage. So I take issue with that. And then also increasing the rates on the Civic Center right now. We did huge increases in the last 3 years on the Civic Center rating, and we may have not lost a lot of revenue, but I think that we increased it a lot over the last 3 years. And I just think we should put a pause on raising the rates again. I understand that we need to have incremental, but I think we did such an increase that I don't agree with the 5%.
I think it's hard to differentiate between occupancy in houses. You could have a house with a suite and you have one. You could have a single house that's got 7 people in it. So I think it's really hard to say, to differentiate how many people are occupying. So you kind of have to draw the line somewhere. And so it's a single residence or single residence with a suite. And in most cases, when you do have a suite, the consumption of water usually is more. So it's a fine line, but I don't think we can go on number of occupants. You just have to draw a line.
I think the 75% is excessive. And I think that if you take, say, a 5-bedroom home with a 1-bedroom suite, I think penalizing people with suites at 75% is penalizing people for being honest. And I think that at these rates, people are better off to not tell us. And it's going to encourage people to lie and that they won't want to legalize the suites. So they're going to get charged on consumption, but also penalizing them at 75% for a 1-bedroom suite potentially, I think is excessive.
So
I am not voting in favor of that.
I get your situation, but that'd be something that probably should be moved to bylaw or policy.
And I did try moving it before, and apparently it's not in the notes. So something I'm not going to let go of.
Well, we're not going to solve it here, right now. We're not. So it can be removed to, you can move that, your concerns after we get through this to move it to policy, and we can go from there. So I do have a mover and seconder on this one. Any other questions on it? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. We have a recommendation that the City of Merritt Fees and Charges Amendment Bylaw number 2427-2026 be read a third time. Councillor Baxter, Mr. Petrosi, any questions on this? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Would you like to make a recommendation that we take your concerns to policy? Because that's where
Yes, because the thing is that at these rates, it's ridiculous. And who's going to want to put a suite in?
So let's, can we move that particular one to policy if we could, Seal?
Yes, you can. If we're putting forward a resolution that,
Yep.
which schedule specifically is it that you like?
Well, I think that we should be looking at the cost of the sewer and garbage costs. I think it was the sewer with suite or one single family home with suite. And I think it was on the garbage and sewer because it was surcharged 75%. And I just think it's excessive.
So this is for suites. You would like that to be relooked at from the 75 to something else on rental suites?
How many people have suites right now that are illegal? And for what? For the joy of getting to pay an extra 75% on their utility and they're going to pay consumption?
So make your recommendation.
So my recommendation is that we bring that for policy review for the review, just like we did for the airport.
I'll second that.
Great.
Any questions on that? Councillor Charn.
Will this all be mute once we go on meters?
No, because it's a parcel tax. This is the
Seal.
If I may, just add some clarity, we back up a little bit to the last policy committee. If you remember, at the end of each section, I did a sum up and asked everybody if we were at that point. There was a discussion on that. But the sum up didn't include that for what the direction we had. That there was a conversation about it. It was a bigger thing, I think, at that point that we'd have to get into than what we had time for at that particular time, which is why it didn't end up on the motion. Now, to that point, the 75%, if I'm not mistaken, you're talking about the sewer being charged 75% of the water consumption. Is that
Of the
correct?
parcel. Like, look at the parcel rates that you have in the schedule here, and it's, you take, whatever the rating is, garbage is double.
So the parcel tax wouldn't be on a suite.
No. hold on.
Parcel tax
I'm gonna
would be on
find,
property. So the 75% number, if I'm not mistaken, we charge sewer at about 75% of water consumption based on the total set. Correct? So if you have a flat rate for water of this amount, your sewer is 75% of that. That's a constant number when we're not metered.
yeah, in the metered water rates residential. In the schedule here, you have single family at 251.26, and then you have single family with secondary suites at 439.
Is that metered rate?
It says water rates, non-metered water
Okay,
rates.
non-metered.
So it's flat rate stuff.
Yeah, metered was going to be just a number shoved in there at this point.
So I guess the bottom line is you wanted to go back and do a review of that particular rate piece, which is the sewer versus the water on secondary suites. Is that correct?
Mhm. And then you've got the sewer. When you've got sewer rates, non-meter residential, you have single family residential at 201.01. And then you have single family with a secondary suite paying 351.77. And I can appreciate, yes, there may be a suite in there, but 75%, just in my opinion, seems excessive.
Okay.
And that's why I'm asking if we can have a review of that, just like we did for the airport.
Yeah, no, that's perfectly clear.
Have some
We got that.
clarification.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions on that? All those in favor? Opposed, carried. Remedial action requirement, 2640 Kootley Avenue. Opportunity for representation. We have a recommendation where section 74 of the Community Charter, SBC 2003 C26, the Community Charter authorizes council for the City of Merritt, the city, to impose a remedial action requirement on the owner or occupier of land in relation to a declared nuisance. And whereas Rena Kenneth, the owner, is registered owner of 2640 Kootley Avenue, Merritt, BC, legally described as PID 003-883-388, Lot A, Plan Cap 30630, District Lot 122, Kamloops Division of Yale and Land District, except Plan KAP 49426, the property. And whereas the council for the City of Merritt has received and reviewed the staff report dated August 20th, 2026 in relation to the property, the report, now therefore the council of the City of Merritt is as follows. 1, that based on the information contained in the report and pursuant to section 74 of the Community Charter, the buildings on the property is so dilapidated and unclean as to the offense of the community and is hereby declared to be a nuisance, the nuisance. 2, that the pursuant to section 72 of the Community Charter, council hereby imposes the following remedial action requirement on the owner of the property to address and remediate the nuisance, the remedial action requirement. A, within 35 days, the owner must submit the plan to the Director of Planning and Development for the city to either remediate the property to abate the nuisance in compliance with the city's good neighbor bylaw 2387-2024 or demolish and clear the property. B, the plan must comply with all provincial building legislation and the city's building bylaw 2382-2024, and the plan must include any professional survey, report, and assessment required by law. C, within 60 days, the owner must submit all surveys, reports, or assessments and complete applications for permits required under the plan to the Director of Planning and Development. D, within 120 days, the owner must complete the plan to the satisfaction of the Director of Planning and Development. 3, that council hereby directs the remedial action requirement be completed in accordance with the schedule in paragraph 2. 4, that if the owner fails to provide the plan or is in default of the schedule in paragraph 2, the city may deem the remedial action requirement to be for demolition of the property. 5, that if the remedial action requirement is not completed by the deadline set out on paragraph 2, the city and its agents, contractors, or employees may, pursuant to section 17 of the Community Charter, SBC 2003, C26, undertake any or all of the actions necessary to fulfill the remedial action requirements at the expense of the owner. And 6, that the city may recover from the owner all of the city's costs incurring by fulfilling the remedial action requirement as debt or as property taxes on property or by sale of the property pursuant to Section 80 of the Community Charter. Can I have a mover in a second? Oh. Seal.
Your worship, I just wanted to jump in here before we move towards making a decision, because this is a remedial action requirement.
Yes.
It is a hearing, so it's a quasi judicial process. So there is a process that we need to follow.
Yep.
So if I may, your worship, can I just start with providing an introduction in
Sure.
regards to the process?
Sure.
I'll speak to the staff report. We do have the property owner here who has an opportunity to present to you as well. It's important for them to hear the whole process. So I'll start off by acknowledging that there are 2 remedial action requirement hearings this evening that you'll be considering as separate items. I am, however, going to provide you with a preamble that'll cover the processes for each of these hearings as they are quasi-judicial. This means council is being asked to independently consider what is being presented by the property owners and staff in relation to the requirements of the community charter, and to determine if what is being presented meets the standard that is set out in the community charter. For your reference, I have a copy of the community charter up on the screen here. Both matters are being brought forward under Section 72 and 74 of the community charter, which provides council with the authority to make a determination of a declared nuisance. The standard that council is applying in these matters is in Section 72 of the community charter. Council may impose remedial action requirements in relation to 3 situations. The 3 situations that council can make these requirements under are set out in sections 73, which is hazardous conditions, 74, which is a declared nuisance, or Section 75, which is harm to drainage or diking. For both agenda items, staff is bringing these matters forward under Section 74 as a declared nuisance. Section 74 states that council may declare any of the following as a declared nuisance or impose a remedial action requirement on the declared nuisance: a building or other structure, an erection of any kind or a similar matter or thing, a natural or artificial opening in the ground or a similar matter or thing, a drain, ditch, watercourse, pond, surface water, or a similar matter or thing, a matter or thing that is in or about any matter or thing referred to in paragraphs A to C. Subsection 1 also applies in relation to a thing that council considers so dilapidated or unclean as to be offensive to the community. In making a resolution, council must satisfy themselves that they do in fact have the authority to exercise this power and that it falls into one of these classes and that the thing in question constitutes a nuisance in the legal sense. A nuisance is something that is normally defined as something that is harmful or offensive to the public or a matter that to which there is a legal remedy, or something that is so dilapidated or unclean that is offensive to the community. That is the standard that you'll be applying when you're considering whether or not you will be making a declared nuisance remedial action requirement in this situation. Are there any questions about the framework so far? Okay.
Also, Richard, you got your light on? You have a question? Oh, sorry. No, we don't.
So the general order of the hearing is for staff to make a presentation, followed by a presentation by the property owner. Then council will be able to have an opportunity to ask questions of the owner and staff in order to satisfy themselves that they have all the information that you require. This will then be followed by deliberation by council on whether or not to make a remedial action requirement. With that, your worship, would you like me to provide a presentation for 2640 Cootley Avenue?
Yes, please.
Thank you for your patience here. So the home is located on 26 Ford Lake Kootley Avenue. It was damaged during a fire in 2021. The property has been left in a dilapidated and unclean state since that point in time. It was fire damaged. It hasn't been remediated since then. The city has opened numerous files on this property for issues relating to the condition of the house and the property, and have received many complaints over the past 5 years from the public regarding the negative impact of the property that it has on the neighborhood. There have been unsightly yard complaints. There have been securement issues. There have been complaints in regards to trespass on the property. There have been complaints about the fire damage and the unsightly condition of the property in relation to creating a community environment and a neighborhood feel. So what the city has done is they have visited the property with a third-party building inspector who has done a full investigation on the property. And they have made a report which is attached to this council report. And based on their observed conditions, they suggest that the rehabilitation of the existing building is considered impractical and disproportionate to the remaining serviceable components. And they're recommending demolition and removal of the existing structure. That is the end of my presentation. So I will, at this point, turn it over to the homeowner.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Rena Kane. I am the registered owner of 2640 Kootley Avenue. This is my husband, Gurbinder Ahuja, who will add to what I have to say here and answer any questions you may have. We've reviewed the city's report and we understand the concerns. We agree that the property is not realistically repairable and that ultimately it needs to be demolished. We're not here to dispute that, and we understand the neighbors' concerns as well. We want the property resolved. What we'd like council to understand is why it's taken so long. The fire happened around the same time as the severe Merritt floods, which had tremendous impact on our family. 2 homes connected to our family were severely affected. Our family home here in Merritt and my brother-in-law's home. Our family home and my brother-in-law's home required extensive rebuilding, and we're still dealing with that rebuilding and the significant financial costs today. We've had to borrow money from various sources just to continue the necessary work, and we're still not in a position where everything has been completed. We've also had serious family circumstances to deal with during this difficult time, which has added another significant burden. So the amount of time that has passed was not because we didn't care about the property or simply chose to ignore it. We've been dealing with significant circumstances and financial hardships for years, while continuing to carry the costs associated with these properties. We're not asking to avoid our responsibility. We agree that the property needs to come down. We're simply asking for more time and some flexibility so that we can work with the city and develop a realistic plan and timeline to get it done. If there are any resources, assistance, payment options, or other avenues available to us to help us manage this, we'd certainly appreciate the city's guidance. We know the neighbors want this resolved and we want it resolved too. We want to do the right thing. We're just asking council to consider everything our family has been through and give us a realistic opportunity to get this done. Thank you.
Councilor Richard.
Oh, can my husband just add?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hi, Mayor and Council. My name is Gurbinder Ahuja. Just adding to my wife's statement, what also happened, the reason length of time was happening is we're working with the insurer because the house was fully insured. So they took up to 4 years to tell us that we're not covered under home insurance because we first they said we're covered, then they would like go back and forth, and ultimately we were not covered for the insurance to get the house rebuilt. And right now we did look at we did ask some contracted cost. It's about $50,000 to get the house demolished and taken away, and it's it's really difficult to get to those costs right now. And we are looking into avenues to get that resolved, but it's not gonna happen like in 120 days, like that says, right? But we will work with the city and, we want to resolve too. We do have the building boarded up. I'm not sure that we try to do the lawn maintenance as well. The property itself, we had it fenced off for approximately 3-4 years with safe on fencing. We did, have it close up. People are breaking into the home. It's not, we have a lot of homeless people in town right now too. There's things are going on in town. That's out of our control as well. BC government has put a lot of people in our town. And we, like I said, my way of saying we don't want to do the right thing, but we just want the city to work with us well and hopefully get that, it resolved in a timely manner as well.
Thank you. Councilor Richard.
Number one, that house had a total loss fire on August the 17th, 2021. The November 15th flood was 90 days in difference. Had there been an insurance claim adjuster over there, they would have secured the building in short order because there's a legislation required by insurance companies to do that. Secondly, many complaints have been made on that property and different attempts to have that cleaned up, and nothing's happened. And I'm afraid that if we give you any more extension, it's going to sit there for another 5 years. Thirdly, insurance companies have a statute of limitations required to settle any claim. It used to be 12 months and it's 24 months. So if there was any insurance coverage being applied to your dwelling, they would have had to settle you off by now. So you've already had 2.5 times what everybody else has had. And I'm just providing this information for my co-counselor because I know she's going to be asking, she likes data and she wants information. And I'm sorry, but you've known me for a long time and I know you and I can appreciate the things going on in family situations. And I know that you have other homes on the Lower Mainland. But we live here and we're responsible to our community. And sorry, I will not support another extension. It's been 60 months. So
When lawyers are involved in insurance claims, it does take quite a lengthy
do you
period.
have an extension through the Supreme Court or?
Like when the place was fenced off, you can't say that was fenced off by the insurer because they're going through the claim, right? It was not cut and dry as I know you're adamant on your end, but we went through the situation on our end through the paperwork. You're not there for it. I'm sorry. I know it's a bad experience, right? But you're not there for it.
I was literally outside watching the burn.
Yeah, no, but you said it's 90 days. They never denied, or we're working with the insurer.
They didn't deny you.
They denied the claim after the fact. You said the floods happened after 90 days.
So
correct?
you've had a denial.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not at 90 days. I'm saying we never got a denial on that 90 days. You're talking about so if an insurance company is doing their job, right? They fenced off the property. In November 2021, the floods happened. At that time, there's no denial. We were working with the insurance company at that time. Just want to make it clear, right? I'm sorry that you don't know the facts. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you're just.
Why so much sarcasm?
No, I'm just giving a reiteration of how things work and
It's
they do
very
make it.
stressful. It's very stressful.
I understand,
Yeah.
but
So
also
I don't appreciate the sarcasm.
nobody's being sarcastic. I'm simply stating that insurance companies have to make a settlement or a claim decision within a short.
So we repealed the decision, right? There's lawyers involved, and that takes time as well. So like if you want the lawyer's report to send to you so you can see, the timeline, we spent money towards that too, because we felt that we should be covered for a fire, right? We're not going to tear down building when we're paying yearly insurance for a property, right? And so we want to take that, we're waiting for them to cover us, right? And from the situation of not getting covered, it's a financial hardship as well, right? It's not like, it's not cut and dry. It's not cheap to tear down. It's like if it was like a few $1,000s, even up to $10,000, that building would have gone years ago, right? It's a $50,000 situation, right? The property itself is probably worth $100,000, $80,000 as a lot of costs, right? So, we are trying to sort it out. We don't want to lose our property, right? So we like I said, my wife saying we want to work with the city, and you're like, I don't care. It's been too long, and there's a lot to it. It's not just one thing.
I didn't say I didn't care, and
But
I
you
don't
said it's
mean
been a
to
long
be
time.
sarcastic. It's just that in the insurance industry, there are limitations of time. And that's all I was simply saying. So if I came across sarcastically, that's not my intent. I'm just simply giving dates and
I
times.
appreciate that.
And I was there on the street and I was worried that it might spread to the neighboring properties. There's elderly people on one side, or I shouldn't say elderly.
retired. And so I was concerned because there's also the, rightfully so, the trees and stuff like that as well. Anyway, and that's all I have to say.
Thank
Counselor, Counselor Charlie.
I'm sorry for the experience you went through. No one wants to go through that. Have you, you're talking about the cost for demolition. Have you looked at doing the demolition yourself?
So that's good, question. We would love to explore that option if can we do it or something?
I know personally that you can, you're a big family. You can get your family and friends together and have a big party weekend and take that building down for a tenth, the 20th of what it would cost a company to come in and take that structure down. As long as you take your time and look at all the safety features. So someone who knows structures, how to take them down. But you can take that building down and save yourself tens of thousands of dollars.
We did not know that. Thank you so much for that.
And just a question about the demolition.
Oh, you have to get a demolition permit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is there some way to, like, cause I know some things takes time, is that some way to fast track that permit as well, just so we put this situation on hand?
So CEO and CO, really want to answer this. Is Counselor Charney's information factual? And what would a permitting situation look like? Well, I just want to make sure we're not going to give out bad information and somebody, we have an issue. So I'm just curious on that.
Okay, so a demolition permit shouldn't take that long to issue, because we're not going through a lot of drawings to build something at that point. Thing we have to be cognizant of is usually in the demolition world, you have to do hazardous materials investigations first, and there's nothing that you're pulling out that's asbestos or carcinogenic or something like that. So there's a process to get the building assessed first. Then the physical tearing it down, generally not that onerous if, as long as everybody understands we're filling in foundations and things like that, getting done with the permit. But permits don't take that long in this situation. You know, if it took a couple of weeks, I'd be surprised.
Okay, so there you go.
Take a question. There's the house structure itself was the main portion of burnt down. So if you get the house structure taken away fully, right, get that cleaned up, is it okay to, because we have the garage portion that's intact? It's not, it's not in any bad state or it's been broken into. Is that okay to leave that structure because there's a foundation there? How we sort of what we're going to do with the property in the future? Because that main issue is that home that's boarded up and that's causing the issue with the neighbors as well.
CEO.
That's gonna step us into a problem with the zoning bylaw because you can't have a secondary building without a primary use first. So if the house disappears, the garage becomes non-compliant at that point without a phased plan of what you're gonna rebuild already in progress. So doesn't mean we can't do something in the way of a temporary permit or something like that. There's always a little bit of wiggle room on these things, but it's generally non-compliant to have a secondary building.
So if the secondary building gets removed and there's slab of foundation left over because of the house itself, I don't believe there's a foundation because it built so long ago, like the year of 1930, I believe it was. So I didn't think it was a wood structure, but I believe the garage has a foundation slab. If you remove the structure itself, then the slab would remain. Is that going to be an issue with the city just to have the slab there?
Well, if you take a trip to Home Hardware and you look across where the old laundromat was, still a slab sitting there all these years later.
Okay.
So I think what you have to understand with council is we're not trying to make your life miserable. It's just we're reacting to what people have complained about is what we're doing. And this is the job we have to do. 3 of us on this council went through the flood as well. Took me 12 months to get my home back in order, etc. It was not an enjoyable situation. So we're well aware of what happens when that happens. Councillor Ogan.
Thank you. I heard from the owners why it took that long to get here. I want to understand from staff why we didn't proceed, with these actions before.
Still.
Thank you, Your Worship. A remedial action requirement is a bit of a last resort for a council to make or for a municipality to make. It is a big deal. It has huge powers when you're using the community charter to require someone to do something to their property. If they don't fulfill the requirements for remedial action requirement, there is the ability for the municipality to move in and do those requirements at the expense of the property owner, to the extent that the property can be sold to recover the costs of that expense. So this is a last resort. The city has left this as long as possible. There have been communications in the past to try and keep the property maintained, giving the property owners the opportunity to move forward with this process. Recognizing that this is a huge impact on their family as well.
Thank you. Now the question is for the owners. You are here requesting an extension based with the new information provided. How long are you requesting? For how long the extension?
So like the problem is like right now we're running to September and November, December, the weather changes kind of quite a bit, right? And my goal is not to take, lengthy amounts of time to do this. It just becomes organizing thing to do. Like right now, my father is very, very sick there. And we're visiting back and forth with Callums right now. And we're dealing with a family matter. So we're just trying to sort out that. And, we're going to try to take action on it right away. I mean, like we're going to start the process of whatever you do. But if it takes until spring or early next year, like, you know what I mean? Like when the weather changes and if we don't get some of the stuff done, we will show you signs working. I'll apply for the demolition permit. I'm going to do the steps to get things started and move forward with it, right? But like when I talk to, for example, Carl from the building department, like even up, because it's on my mind to get this done before you guys even notice. And like, they felt like, okay, if you demolition the house, we need that properly graded back, everything needs to be cleared off. And, I'm like, okay, like it was not like, what we're talking about right now, like, hey, if you want to demo it yourself, that was not the conversation we were having that time. So it's not an option in my mind to do that, right? So
Just so you know, city staff doesn't offer that kind of, they're here, they have a set that they follow and that's the way they go. Comes to us to make we can make those comments.
Thank you.
Staff just does what they're supposed to be doing. Councillor, Councillor Organ?
Yeah. So after 5 years, it could be unreasonable to wait 12 more months to address this situation. I would not be comfortable. So I'm comfortable with a short extension, knowing that there is not going to be appealing, there is not going to be an additional extension, nothing like that. So if at the end of that extension, it has not been properly addressed, the issue, so I would go straight directly with the remedial action requirement. So I would be comfortable waiting 6 months.
Suggestion, Councillor Charney?
What are your long-term plans for the property?
we want to develop it in the future. We want to, like there's a lot of buildings coming up, like 6 units, something just right now. The economy is super bad, like, financially back home, we were in some projects where they're not working out, right? Because right now, things went from like this price and all slashed in half in a sense. So you're dealing with other things right now. So we're not in a mindset to start something new when we haven't resolved other problems right now. And it's for a lot of people in that, development community, it's difficult right now. It's not a fun place to be, right?
Yeah, I totally understand and sympathize with you, but I think that it's something that has to be done.
I agree.
And I think you have the ability to do it. And so I'm not too sure how long I would probably go 3 months for an extension only.
So the only reason I'm not saying the spring, because I know that in December, January, and those months from Merritt, we're all beginning to fall time, it's really difficult to work with the weather. And that's the reason why I'm saying that, because we're at September right now. And there's a couple of things to, like, I'm gonna make the phone calls right away, because you guys gave me some options in my mind to start, because I will hire local, like get some friends or family, whatever it is, to start helping with that situation. And I'm not ignoring it, but I'm just being realistic. If I hit like, you'll see some progress, but if I hit like, say, winter time, it's not really gonna be happening much of, like, people going out there trying to get that done. It's snowing, like, I'm not sure how much work that's gonna be done at that point. That's all I'm saying. This because we're at September in a few days here. That's all.
Councillor Petrosi?
Just looking back, if you would have maybe a year or two ago looked at demolishing. You're saying it costs 50,000 now. Back then it might have been 30 or 40. Next year it might be 60 or 70. The sooner you get it done, the better.
Yeah, agree.
You know, or else it's just gonna keep standing there, right? Something's gotta be done.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna
Right.
like set
You know,
a
so
deadline for my demolition.
just the costs just
Yeah.
keep rising on things, right?
And I
So,
fully agree, and I wish it
you know.
was years ago. Not gonna, like, I wish we're not sitting here today either, like.
Right, yep.
You know, it's not the thing to be sitting here.
Like, you know, the mayor said, three of us went through the flood and, you know, have been through a lot ourselves, so.
Yeah.
And I understand, you know, where you're coming from, but costs are increasing and the sooner the better.
Yeah.
Counselor,
Yeah, I'm very sorry to hear about your dad. And yeah. I would like to just offer 3 months. I think that's reasonable in this case. So the end of November.
You guys made me read that whole thing. So who would like to make a recommendation? Oh, Council.
So just rather than having you read it all out again, I just wanted to draw your attention to what we've got on the screen here.
Yeah.
So right now, what the recommendation
Yes.
is that within 35 days, the owner must submit a plan as to what they're going to do to the municipality. Within 60 days, the owner must submit all of their surveys, any of the reports or assessments. So that's anything to do with asbestos, that sort of thing. So essentially the demolition permit, if that's the way that you're going to go. And then within 120 days, that's when the plan has to be completed. So that's when. So that'll bring us into December.
So we have 30 days to 35 days to give a plan, right?
That's
And then-
correct.
And then from there, we have, and to get the reports into,
60 days.
so 60 days and 120 days, that'd be another 4 months, wouldn't it? That one's 6 months total.
So it gives you,
So
gives you
within
210
120
days.
Total.
Within
210
120 days.
So
from
that
today.
where will it bring us in?
That brings us to December.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
there's 30.
End of the year. And well,
Okay, sorry.
6 months. No? It's 120, it's
Uh,
4 months.
sorry.
right?
It's not cumulative. So it's within 30 days of today. It would be that the plan needs to be decided on within 60 days of today. The applications must be submitted within 120 days of today. Then it must be completed. So 120 days from today. Let me just do a quick Google search here. I think it's December 18th. So is December 120 days from today is December 23rd.
No, what happens in the case where, you know, we're in the process of everything, like we say the house is basically demolished, right? And on December 18th, and then what's the position?
Well, I think what you would see is council, as long as we see progress being made, I think we would be able to offer to help you get to, you know, an extension to help you. We're not going to all of a sudden say, oh, CO,
I apologize.
maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, no,
I
I did
apologize.
have that gone, maybe.
Like I said, this is a process that is set in legislation. So any changes to your remedial action requirement would require a decision of council because the decision of council is made. The decision for the remedial action requirement is made by council. So any changes to it, it would have to come back to council.
Well,
And that's,
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. It would come back to council if you ran into a situation where you were on the 20 days. We just don't show up with Guido and it's all over. I mean, yeah, I mean, this has been done before on TNRD. We do this all the time. We do hand these out and you know, there have been people that have been done it within time and other people who've asked for a little extension, but I mean, you can clearly see something's happening.
Yeah.
Now, if we get to 120 days, you haven't done a thing. Well, that's a completely different story, right?
Like,
So-
my goal would be try to get this done by end of October, like if I could get it, like, no, that's like. I want it over too, so.
So CO, if we voted on exactly what I read, would basically cover what needs to be done, and if it gets to a point where everybody starts to realize we may not be able to hit that mark, council could then, they could come back, address council.
we can bring this back to council.
Okay.
For reconsideration.
So I think that's kind of a fair situation all the way around. I think that gives us the ability to do what we said we're going to do, gives you the ability to work on it, but also leaves some flexibility open to take care of the problem.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I think we're all cool with that.
All right.
We're all cool. Now, do I have a mover and a seconder on that? I read the whole thing, but nobody ever moved it and seconded.
Before you got a chance to
Okay.
get a mover and a seconder.
Counselor Olden, Counselor Baxter. Any other questions on this? All those in favor? Opposed, carried. Thank you.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'll wait because I don't want to read all of this and find out that I went, so. I had a schedule here. Before we move on, maybe we'll take about 5 minutes here. Yep. Be back in 5. 8.2, remedial action on ransom. Okay, we're good. So CO, do you want me to read this whole thing or do we want to go through the last process we went through and then I read it?
If you'd like to, you can read the resolution. The process will remain the same as we outlined previously. This is a quasi judicial process. You are doing an independent decision. There's a staff recommendation. The property owner is online. She is able to speak. But I will let you start the process here.
Okay. So probably what I'll do is we'll probably let the owner speak to it after you've done your little presentation. We'll let the owner speak to it now, and then I can read this whole thing as we move along. Probably get the information from the owner. So if the owner would like to.
Yes. Yes. Hello, guys. Thank you for having me in. My name is Sherry. My husband is Daniel, and he couldn't make it tonight, unfortunately. But I'm here to listen and make some comments if it's okay with you guys.
Sure. Would you like me to read this so you can hear what we're talking about?
Absolutely.
Okay, here we go. Let me do that for you. So this is a recommendation. And it says, whereas section 74 of the Community Charter, SBC 2003 C26, the Community Charter authorizes council for the city of Merritt, the city, to impose a remedial action requirement on the owner or occupier of land in relation to a declared nuisance. And whereas Daniel Mohammed Riza Shukari and Fatima Medpour, the owners, are the registered owners of 2890 Ransom Avenue, Merritt, BC, legally described as PID 005775477, Lot 6, District Lot 122, Kamloops Division, Yale District Plan 24891, the property. And whereas the council for the city of Merritt have received and reviewed the staff report dated August 21st, 2026 in relation to the property, the report. Now therefore, the council of the city of Merritt resolves as follows. 1, that based on information contained in the report and pursuant to section 74 of the Community Charter, the following conditions are so dilapidated, unsightly, or unclean as to the offense to the community are hereby declared to be a nuisance, the nuisance. The school bus parked on the front driveway, the school bus, the commercial vehicle parked on the front driveway, the commercial vehicle, the C-can storage container on the front yard, the C-can, the charred, damaged, and deformed structure and superficial components of the main residence, the damaged exterior staircase, which has detached from the main residence, the damaged windows, walls, doors, particularly those which have been boarded up, and the accumulation of debris, materials, containers, waste, the debris on the property. 2, that pursuant to section 72B of the Community Charter, council hereby imposes the following remedial action requirement on the owners of the property to address the nuisance, the remedial action requirement. Within 35 days, the owners must, I, submit the plan, to the Director of Planning and Development for the city to either demolish the existing structures and clear the property in accordance with the city building bylaw 2382-2024 and all other applicable legislation, regulation, permits, or requirements of any authority having jurisdiction, or 2, remediate the nuisance and bring the property into compliance with the city's good neighbor bylaw 2387-2024 in accordance with all other applicable legislation, regulations, permits, requirements of any authority having jurisdiction. 2, remove the school bus, commercial vehicle, sea-can, and debris from the property. B, within 60 days, the owner must submit all surveys, reports, or assessments and complete applications for all permits required under the plan to the Director of Planning and Development. Within 120 days, the owners must complete the plan to the satisfaction of the Director of Planning and Development. 3, that council hereby directs that the remedial action requirements be completed in accordance with the schedule in paragraph 2. 4, that if the owners fail to provide the plan or in default of the schedule in paragraph 2, the city may deem the plan to be for demolition of the property. 5, that if the remedial action requirements is not completed by the deadline set out in paragraph 2, the city and its agents, contractors, or employees may pursuant to section 17 of the Community Charter, SBC 2003 C26, undertake any or all of the actions necessary to fulfill the remedial action requirements at the expense of the owners. And 6, that the city may recover from the owners all of the city's costs incurred by fulfilling the remedial action requirements as debt or as property tax on the property or by sale of the property pursuant to section 80 of the Community Charter. Can I have a mover in a second? Oh, hold on. No, CL.
Thank you, Your Worship. Before we move to that step, would you like me to provide a
Yes,
brief
please.
overview of
Yeah.
history, and then we'll provide
Let's do that.
Sherry, who's on the line, an opportunity to provide some input as well.
Let's do that. Thank you.
So the home is located at 2890 Ransom Avenue, and it was involved in a fire in November of 2022. Since 2022, staff have worked towards keeping the property sealed and in a condition that is in keeping with the neighborhood by managing the unsightliness of overgrown weeds on the property and removing hazardous materials from the front of the property. Staff have received numerous complaints about the unsightly condition of the property. There have been concerns expressed about security and safety of the building, trespassers on the property, and possible squatters. City staff, they visited the property recently with a third-party building inspector for the purpose of assessing the condition of the property. The report from the third-party building inspector notes that there's 2 courses of actions that can be considered for this property. One would be demolition and replacement. The other one would be to conduct a comprehensive assessment of the potential for retention and rehabilitation by appropriately qualified professionals. The current condition of the property could be considered in a state of dilapidation that is inconsistent with fostering a viable neighborhood. So that is my submission in addition to the report that's been provided by the third-party building inspector and from myself that's on the agenda package. I will turn it over to the property owner if you'd like.
Sure. Ma'am, if you want to go ahead, please.
Yes, so as you guys know, this has been ongoing since 2022, and we are dealing with the insurance company for past 4 years. They've been delaying constantly. There was many times of court orders, and we are hoping by end of August, the latest mid-September, to finalize everything. We fortunately we won the court, and they're supposed to give us approximately $1.5 million to either demolish the place and rebuild the new place. So we are in middle of ending the court, hopefully by end of August or mid-September.
Okay, I guess the question being is what would be the plan in the meantime as the property sits as it sits? It's sat far too long the way it is at this point in time. With this plan that you have in front of you, you have a certain amount of time to start moving forward on the cleanup. So we're just wondering what that would be looking like for you.
So as soon as we receive the money, we will start cleaning up the property, and this would be within next 30 days.
So basically, ma'am, the order in front of us says that you have 30 days or 35 days to submit a plan. So
Mhm.
within the 35 days, I would suggest you submit the plan.
Yes, we will
Uh,
submit the plan to the city of Merritt.
So I don't see myself deviating from anything in front of me here because it still gives you plenty of time to move ahead and start cleaning up the process, getting your permit in place. And like we said to the last group, that if we hit the, would hit the situation, you could simply come back and present to council. But we haven't seen any movement on this property, and we need to see some movement on the property. It's as simple as that.
Right. Unfortunately, due to financial difficulties we had since the fire, we have been renting and we lost the business, we lost the house, and we were suffering financially. And we were fighting with the insurance, and we are at the end of the process. Again, as soon as we receive the money, we will start working on it. We are trying our best.
Okay, Councillor Etcher.
So this happened almost 4 years ago. And the insurance company is still dealing with this house? Is that what I'm to understand?
That's correct, yes.
So statute in British Columbia gives only 24 months. So how is it that us, after almost 48 months, you're still not settled? Have they they haven't denied your coverage?
No, they actually approved our coverage, but they just didn't want to pay the full coverage. They just want to go half of it, which we were entitled for the full coverage. And we continue fight with them, and successfully we got the result July 31st. Then we had to go through the umpire. Umpire is a mediator between us. And so we won the case. And
So, sorry to interrupt, but if have you also notified your lender? Because typically they can also offer assistance in these situations because there's something called the mortgagee clause, which can be your friend in a total loss situation. So I'm just wondering if, being that you're in an argument with the insurance, I'm just wondering if you've proceeded down this avenue because typically when you have a lender in there, they have an interest in rectifying the property a little bit quicker. And I'm just wondering if you've exercised this option.
so when you're saying lender, are you talking about the
Company, yeah.
the mortgage company? It's been
Mhm.
cleared. It's been cleared.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah,
So
all
there is
right,
there is no lenders on the property. It's all cleared.
okay. Because, yeah, the mortgagee clause, they have an obligation to them, so,
Right, right.
yeah. And then typically as a property with their interest registered on the title, they typically would like to make it safe to alleviate their liability. So I was just wondering if you had consulted with them as well.
Right, right. So again, as I know it's been difficult for the neighbors and for safety and securities, we also suffered from our end quite a bit.
Yeah.
And we are hoping by next 30 days, once everything is finalized, we are actually planning, we have our floor plan already designed by the architect and everything. We just waiting for the last payment to start do the demolitions and then build a property, of course, with plans.
I see. Thank
Councillor
you.
Baxter.
I live in this neighborhood and that property does attract a lot of people that are not good. Because at nighttime when I walk past there, sometimes people are underneath the bus or they're hiding behind the vehicles, which is very unsafe for our neighborhood. So will you be removing the bus and the C-can and the derelict vehicles soon?
We are planning to, yes. I just have to discuss this with my husband to see when is the earliest possible to move everything and start working on the property.
Councillor Attorney.
I also have a concern with the vehicles, et cetera. I mean, you've had 2 years to move them. And now you're just discussing the date now. I find that your structure is very dangerous and I think you're opening yourself up to liability. Those stairs, and according to the inspector, they're very dangerous. So, you know, and anybody could be walking up those stairs, they fall through. And then who's responsible? I think you as a house owner are responsible. So, I think you should really, start acting on this house before you get yourself in more hot water.
Councillor Petrosi.
Yeah, how long has the bus and that commercial vehicle been parked there, and what's inside them? Is it actually contents from the house, or?
We
yeah,
had to, because we wanted to save some of the content from the house, we had no other places, so we kept them over there, and we didn't have any other places to leave. We decided to leave some of the content, and some of them are our business content in the bus and the container, to see if we can keep them and eventually remove them.
How long have the contents been in the bus and the container and the 5-ton truck?
So I believe it's been almost a year now.
Okay. It's just, you know, what I said to the last couple, you know, the longer you wait, it's going to cost you more. A lot of that, those items that are stored are probably not worth much anymore. And moving the bus and the 5-ton and the sea can is going to cost you more. It should have been, you know, maybe taken care of a year ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, so you're going to be dealing with a lot more than I think you're thinking you might be. So thank you.
No, thank you, guys.
So I read the recommendation. Do I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Ogun, Councillor Baxter. So Sherry, just so you understand, you're talking about getting some information in 30 days. So within 35 days, the owner must submit a plan to either demolish or remediate. You need to remove the school buses, commercial vehicles, sea can, and debris from the property. Within 60 days, the owner must submit all surveys, reports, or assessments and complete application for all permits required under the plan to the Director of Planning and Development. And within 120 days from this date, the owners must complete the plan to the satisfaction of the Director of Planning and Development. You understand all of that?
Yes. Thank you for letting me know. Yes.
Thank you very much. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
8.3, Tourism Service Provider Agreement. The council directs administration to enter into contract with the Merritt and Nicola Valley Destination Marketing Society, DBA Tourism Nicola Valley, substantially in the form of attached August 15th, 2026 draft agreement. Councillor Ogun, Councillor Egan, any questions on this? And I do want to take a moment to thank staff and especially the CAO that has stick handled quite a long way through this with a lot of changes. I want to thank TNV for helping get to this point and appreciate all the work that was done there. All those in favor? Oh, sorry, Councillor Rogan.
I was going to say the same thing. I was going to echo your words. Thank you. This is a big accomplishment. And we've been working on that for many, many years. You've been in that position not that long, and you have accomplished. So thank you for that.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. 8.4, September 11th to 13 BC Drag Race. We have a recommendation that council relax the City of Merritt zoning bylaw 2284-2020 to allow overnight camping on 4510 Airport Road at the airport for the participants in the BC Drag Race on September 11th and 13th, 2026. Councillor Petrosi, Councillor Egan. This is a great group. We've had them in once already. They're very professionally run. The two people that run it do a great job. And again, it's investment up at the airport for our community. And I think last time they had about 85 cars and quite a few people came out to watch it. Councillor
Charney? Yep. I understand it's a great attraction. I have a couple concerns. Closing the airport, shoulder season of fire season. So the airport could be extremely busy at this time of the year and with wildfires or any emergency. So I think we have to take that into consideration. And I also, I've had a couple of people talk to me about the long-term effects of damage to the airport runway with continual racing on it. I'm not a racer, so I kind of looked it up. And types of damage caused by drag racing, rubber buildup and burnouts, reduced friction, surface stress and spalling, fluid leaks, foreign objects, debris. So I think that we also have to look at, do we have a secondary runway where this drag strips racing can take place so that we're not impacting the main runway of our airport? And if we only have the one runway, we are compromising that, or when we do need it for an emergency or people that are just coming in, getting fuel and leaving again. So I do have some concerns with regards to, it's not the camping I'm concerned about what they're doing on the runway.
So just to bring you up to date on a couple things. There basically is no rubber buildup on this to a certain degree because this is no prep. They don't prep the track. They don't put stick them down. They don't do any of that stuff. They do a little bit of burnout with the water. At the end of the event, myself and usually one of the people who walk the entire airport from end to end to make sure there was no damage, that there's no FOD, foreign object device, on the runway. Right now, we're in the middle of fire season. We just had the airport go for 2 days with the autocross this weekend, past weekend. Fixed wing airplanes don't fight fires. Airport helicopters do, so they can be moved to wherever they need to be moved to. So by the time this happens, we're 11th and 13th. A lot of our orders have been removed and people have been returned home. But I mean, it's very simple. If a situation does arise, then this event gets canceled. It's that simple, and the airport comes back into operation. But we just had it. Anyways, Councillor Egan.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, basically, is there a chance that this could be canceled as well?
Well, I'm sure anything could be canceled. I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, I'm thinking about smoke and
I don't,
or smoke.
smoke won't bother them. Smoke won't bother them. But I mean, if it's a situation where we've got a complete out of wildfire and our EOC opens, then of course this would not happen. Of course it would. Yeah, they probably would, the Stock Car Association canceled their event because a lot of the people were on evac notice or had been removed out of there. So they canceled their event. So same thing would happen here. They do pay rent. They do, they have their own coverage, and they do repair damage if there is any. So we're pretty clear on that. Yes, they rent it for 2 days, yes. Yeah, they rent it for 2 days. We put a no TAMs on and they do their business. People in the community seem to like it. There's very little damage to the airport as we see it, so. But I understand your theories. Do I have a mover and seconder on that? I do. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. 2027 Local Government Management Association Internship Program. We have a recommendation that council direct staff to submit a grant application for the 2027 LGMA Local Government Internship Program. Councillor Baxter, Councillor Ogan, any questions on this? Those in favor? Downtown Engagement and Workforce Housing Report. Recommendation that the August 25, 2026 report of the Director of Community Engagement entitled Downtown Engagement and Workforce Housing Reports be received for information. Councillor Baxter, Councillor Petrosi, any questions on this? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Notices of motion. Are there any? Reports from council. Councillor Baxter.
Okay, on Wednesday, the 5th, I attended the Merritt Country Christmas, and that started really well. So hopefully there was way more volunteers this year to be on the committee. So proud of that. Tuesday, the 18th, I went to the Merritt Wildfire Information at the Civic Center. It was well attended and I gained a lot of information and I learned a lot. On Wednesday, the 19th, I went to Nicola Meadows with the mayor and it was kind of fun. And Saturday the 22nd, I went to the USW barbecue wildfire evacuees and firefighters at Rotary Park. It was well attended in waves. And they donated the leftover food to the firefighters and to the fire hall. So the fire hall got a lot of food. And then Tuesday the 25th, I went to the committee of the whole meeting earlier today.
Councillor Richard.
Yeah, well, this time of year, ESS has been busy, so I spent a lot of time at the airport. And I have to say that now I'm quite happy with using the ERA online system. So it's definitely more efficient than doing paper. August the 7th, I went to Clearwater for the SOGA board meeting with some of the pieces that they want to put through and some support letters that they want to lobby for UBCM. So it was informative. Some updates on the JP Center. They're having regular coffee meets. There's one on Thursday, I think, at 12:30. If anybody wants to go to talk to Betty Brown online to give any updates or requests for information for the Jim Pattison Center that they have in Kelowna for helping healthcare situations and accessibility programs, small things that they can help with. August 18th, the wildfire meeting that we had here. Thank you to the staff for organizing that. It was good. I think people appreciated getting to see maps and talk to the wildfire crews. And yeah, the ESS barbecue volunteer USW event that Councillor Baxter mentioned, and the meeting here today. So that's it.
Councillor Rogan.
August 5th, I attended TNB meeting. August 12th, I attended the Rotary Club. At that meeting, there was a decision made by the club to make a donation for the additional donation for the food bank. So on August 13, when I attended the food bank meeting, we delivered the check in the amount of $2,000 from the Rotary to the food bank. On August 18, I attended the wildfire information session. Thank you, staff, for the organization. August 22nd, I attended the barbecue that Councilor Baxter was mentioned. It was good. It was good to I felt good with it. And today I attended the council meeting as well.
Councillor Turner.
I left right after our last council meeting and arrived home yesterday, I guess. So, but I didn't attend anything, but I would like to make a comment on two communities that I went through. Vanderhoof and Smithers, their active transportation paths are absolutely fantastic. So if we're ever looking at, really improving our active transportation paths, I think those two communities are well worth looking at. I'd also like to send a big thank you and say you've done an excellent job. Is Adam Hart, EMCR, and the ESS team. They have worked tirelessly, and it's been a long season for them, and I'd like to thank them very much for the work they've done.
Councillor Egan.
Thank you. I went to the wildfire open house on the 18th. I really wanted to go to the thank you for the firefighters barbecue. How many people actually went to that? Will you say there was a little bit? So they must have been preparing for like double that though, eh?
Oh, what?
500?
Yeah. It was mostly firefighters that were in the park. Some evacuees. Didn't really see a lot of the townsfolk come out. So
I don't know, but where was it advertised?
it was advertised about 2 days before it happened. So I think that had a little bit to do with it. USW, United Steelworkers, kind of just felt the need. So they moved in, did what they could. And, it was well received. I mean, we were sitting there. There was a crew from New Zealand that was absolutely amazed that we did this for them because they don't get this kind of respect in their country. And we're like, well, thank you for being here. I mean, you come all the way to New Zealand to help keep our homes safe. They were floored that they were getting this kind of thank you from a union. They were just floored. So, yeah.
Okay, so the other thing I wanted to mention too is that how are they handling living in those tents with all this smoke? Is there no way we could have put them in a school or something?
So that had came up several times. And we had conversation with the fire chief and the incident commander. So these kids are trained to actually live as close to a fire as they can. The school was not an option because it's already being leased out at this point in time. They were at the rodeo grounds. They had to make some changes for the rodeo grounds because the rodeo was coming. For a little while, we did have them in the arena for a very little while. But I also made an application or a request to see if we could tour and say thank you. Incident commander said no, thank you. So just from dealing with people up at the airport when they send up their spring camps, they want these kids to live as like this is how it's going to be for the whole year, and that will separate them. They seem to be very okay with what the way things are. They're well fed, they're well looked after, there's showers there, there's laundry there, everything's there, food, good food is there. But this is the way they prefer them to live during a fire season.
Wreck their lungs so they can't fight fires anymore, yeah. And I went to the committee the whole meeting today.
Yeah. Councillor Petrosi.
Yeah, like Councillor Charney, I was away for just over 3 weeks up to Whitehorse, and I camped with Councillor Charney for a couple nights, her and her husband. So, again, she mentioned those two communities, Smithers and Vanderhoof, and just incredible communities, clean. Yeah, the active transportation paths take you everywhere. Things are, yeah, just incredible. Just wanted to add a gas buddy. I know you're probably going to do gas buddy, but halfway between Watson Lake and Whitehorse, $2.75 a liter.
Well, that's to be expected.
But the average price was anywhere from $1.80 to $2.29 is what we were paying. So, but
Less than what
It's
we
the
had.
yeah, Vanderhoof was less actually their gas. So, let's see. Yesterday, I had a free day. I actually had I went down to a couple of the McDonald's, Tim Hortons, and A&W, and had coffee with 3 different groups of retirees. So that was quite interesting.
Well, you're a retiree yourself.
I'm a retiree myself. Actually, went to see Councillor Etchart, had a little visit with him, Councillor Egan, same, and went to see the mayor today. So we had a bit of a chin wag today. And I think that's about it. Oh, I attended the cow today, and it's good to be back in Merritt. So just going to make things better.
So myself, July 22nd, Nicola Ranch irrigation demo. I think I went out with Councillor Baxter. This is a new way of irrigating rather than the open sprinklers. They're dragging a line behind. Nicola Ranch, I think, is demoing one of the situations. It's having mixed results at this point. The idea is to drag the hoses so it's on the ground so there's no loss through evaporation. The only problem is by the time you get to the end of the pivot, the line is 300 feet long, and you can kind of see where it gets and where it doesn't get. So they're demoing it. So we'll see how that works out. But it was interesting to see. It was interesting to see. On the 28th, I had a meeting with Frank Caputo, the MP. We talked about several things such as dike reform, aspen planers, many other things. And we talked about his Bailey's Law and what that means. So it was nice for Frank to stop in and have a visit. On the 30th, I toured the Lower Nicola EOC. I was invited by one of the councillors to come down and have a look at it, and I went down and talked to the ladies running their EOC. They did a great job out there. I'm sure it's now closed, as ours is, but it was nice to go out and tour that. On the 31st, I sent the request to BCEC about our fuel prices and asked them to put us into the same investigation that Kelowna or Kamloops is doing. And we've been added to that as well. So hopefully other communities will kind of jump on that as well, because there's some issues that just don't seem to be working, and you're about to see it when I do my gas buddy. On the August 5th, I met with Ravi Parmar. We talked about fires, forestry, and several other things. Again, aspen planers, where they may be going, and of course, of drought situation and fire. Later that day, I had a phone Zoom meeting with Minister Green from EMCR, where I had asked her if we could possibly have a state of emergency. And one of the reasons that I was requesting that is because ESS right now has put over 300 evacuees through our community. And we were running out of hotel rooms. Now, when the province does a state of emergency, then the EMC can then take these hotels and tourists have to go somewhere else. So she wasn't willing to do it at that point, but then a week later she did. So it all worked out. On August the 10th, I started my every 2 day radio spots with Roger, just bringing the community up to date on where we are and where we're going. I will probably do my final one on this Friday. On the 12th, I sent a letter to the Federal Minister of Health asking for some help to get a direction on where we're going with our health, because it doesn't seem like we're going anywhere at this point with the last 4 years of our issues. And then we ended up with a new Minister of Health, which is Ravi Cologne. I had a very long conversation with him 2 days ago. He seems to be very open to some things. You may have seen some of it on the news tonight, consolidating HAs and some of that stuff. So he's he's been in this game a long time, so I've got a good feeling that he probably will be able to move this forward and make some changes. So I'm hopeful we'll get there. He has agreed to come to town to meet with myself and bring the IHA CAO, and we'll tour the hospital and talk about some of the things that are going on. So I'm holding out that if anybody can fix this could probably be him. August the 13th, I had TNRD. Then we had the open house for the fire meeting on August the 18th. I appreciate staff and everybody that stood there and answered questions that had absolutely nothing to do with fire. And some of the questions aimed at the fire crews, I thought were a little much for them to be dealing with, considering they're trying to put a fire out. These are kids, they don't understand, they're not trying to tell you how, they can't control the smoke goes where it wants. Anyways, I appreciate the time and energy that went into it. Councillor Baxter joined me at Nicola Meadows, which was fun. I go every month and bring them up to date on what's happening in the community. And then they give us some feedback on what they see in the community and what's going on with it. Did the United Steelworkers Barbecue, which was fun. I had a good time. Manuel was the official onion guy and I was the official patty guy. It worked out great. Gas Buddy today, Kelowna, 158 low to 193.9 high. Penticton, 191.9 low, 193.9 high. Chase, 172.9 low, 174.9 high. Merritt, 180.9 low, high of 182. How are we almost 30 cents more than Kelowna at this point? This is why we sent in the thing to the British Columbia Energy Commission. This is a pricing that has to be addressed. It's really unacceptable to have to see this. It's like 158.9. It wasn't even Costco. So anyway, Councillor Egan.
Just one quick question. When you said you had the conversation with Minister Cologne, did he actually mention that maybe we could open our hospital up to be a real hospital again?
At this point in time, he's open to everything coming forward. I told him some of the issues because like he said, I've only been on the job 3 days and granted, I get it. We've been fiddling with this for 4 years. So we talked about incentivized hospitals, how that can damage our community because our nurses leave here to go somewhere else. How we have a manager in Kamloops or Kelowna setting the nurse line in Merritt, but not even being here.
Mm-hmm.
We need a TED camp back. We need a hospital administrator in that building at all times. We base our hospital beds based on per capita of 1,000 people, we get 1 bed. So Merritt is at about 7,500, almost 8, so we get 8 beds. But you've got to take in the 14,500 around us. We need 14 beds. We're already heating almost 40 rooms and lighting them every day that nobody's in. So he's very open to coming to look at talking about when nurses and doctors graduate, kind of like a situation that they have with Depot with the RCMP. They could either go to a northern community or a smaller city for 2 years, do some return on investment. After that, they're free agents, off they go. He's open to a lot of things, and that's why he's going to be coming and talking with a lot of the mayors in the communities that are affected. As you saw today, I don't know if you saw it on the news. The HAs have 73 vice presidents. Do we really need 73 vice presidents? I don't think we do. So I think this is where you'll start to see some of the cutting. He's talking about amalgamating the HAs from 7 to maybe who knows what. Why is there coastal, island coastal, this coastal? So he's talking about that. So he's open to a lot of things. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, health authorities, yeah.
Yeah, well, people should be able to have their babies here, that's for sure.
Well, again, this centralization that they started in 2001, they did it with forestry and health, and neither one has worked well. So it comes to a point, I think you saw him tonight, that said it was unacceptable for any community to have any yard closed. Those are the words we've been looking for quite some time. So great, those words are out there. So let's see where the bear craps in the buckwheat, and let's get something done, because we've been at this fight for 4 years, and we need our hospital open and we need it operating correctly. You know as well as I do, the centers are centers. That's great. But going over to Kamloops for anything, a procedure, you spend 90% of your time looking for a parking spot. You're around and around and around and around and around. So we should be able to get some of that work here. So it used to be in 77, I got my knee operated. I had my rehabilitation here. Babies were born here, right? So, yeah. So anyways, I'm quite confident with his experience from all of the other ministries that he's been in, that he can start to make a change. Yes. That's me in a nutshell. I think that's everybody. So we do have some information items. Oh, sorry, we have the CAO report. Any questions? Oh, Councillor Charney, CAO report.
Okay, as usual, an excellent report. And as usual, I have some questions. Claybanks RV Park, why was April $8,000 more than May, June, July? You'd think it would be the reverse. So what happened in April? Fire in April? Oh, I see. Fire not coming down. That way.
CAO.
We could ask the director to respond to that. He might have a better handle on things like revenues.
Mr. Zackel.
Thank you, Your Worship, and to Councillor Charney. So April was higher because we opened pre-registration for the park in January 20th. So all that revenue got deferred until April. So that's why April was so large, and then the pattern subside. But so those January pre-rentals could have been for any month of the open season.
Got it. So how are the plans coming for the transition for the city to take over the park?
I've got a report for you guys in September to ask which direction you want to go to, whether you want to do it city run, whether you want to do it RFP again with a new contract. The new contractor options are there, so council will get to deliberate, make that choice then.
Compost. Is the structure complete for the washroom, bathroom, or the kitchen area and all that? They were in the compost area, they were doing that?
CAO.
Compost?
Well, isn't that where you drive down that hill and
Yep.
remember they were,
Talking about the staff building that we
Yes,
talked about for a
exactly.
while. So we're doing things in phases. Actually, Mike met with contractors today bidding on the access road earthworks, which we have in the budget. The concept on the building has grown a little bit price wide, which I think we see in just about everything, to the point where we're not funded for that right now. We're focusing on the road, the walls for the retaining walls for the stock and whatnot. And we're gonna have to bring a decision item back for you probably in the next year's budget to complete the funding. So if you recall, when we started this process, it would start with a certain amount of money and we bring projects to you slowly. That will be the last one. By the looks of it, we're gonna need to talk about funding. Everything else is fitting in to what we've got established now. It's just getting it done.
so I assume that taking one of the trailers down there for use of the staff room would be impossible because of the road.
Well, the value is pretty close to, you know, of the trailer sale wise compared to what we would have to pay for a, you know, an acceptable building code building. What drove the price of the building up was we're not able to do a garage style slab thing. It has to have a foundation because of the type of building it's gonna serve. So things were a little bit more complex than what we'd initially thought. And we'd also looked at other trailer options, but we end up with building code issues with the trailers as well, very similar to what we see with Blockfront facilities at the fall fairgrounds that.
Right.
Right, so everything that we've looked at has pointed us to putting a small building there with a pump out sewer, so we'll be able to take the back truck down there and empty it out. We've got the water service in place already when we did the servicing for hydrants and safety down there. So the building will be the last thing. Once we get the wall and whatnot done, we'll know how much we need to bump up from what we have left in the original fund to finish up the building. So it's not actually too bad. It's looking really good.
Okay,
Just lowest priority right now is we're trying to get everything else done.
perfect. Under parks, planned activities, what is the wedding agent that you're putting on the park sports field?
My understanding of the wedding agent is it helps the sporting field retain moisture.
Oh, that's not toxic to animals or humans?
I wouldn't expect, but I haven't asked the question and I haven't licked my fingers.
Oh, okay. Okay. Under road solid waste, planned activities, Hill Street, Lindy Creek Road, drainage maintenance. I know this is off topic. That's a very dangerous corner. You're looking left, you've got those trees you can't see past, so you have to pull out. And then if you pull too far to the left, there's the road just is collapsed.
Yeah.
And someone's gonna get a flat tire or whatever, but that's a very dangerous corner. I think
So to that end, the developer on the far side, we have provision for them to build out that road. Like towards school and whatnot down there, when that goes to development. So we're kind of waiting for kind of the chicken and the egg thing to finish up some of that. We'll get some intersection improvements out of that. The trees themselves have been a matter of enforcement over the last couple of years. Just not a lot of progress on it.
Okay, okay. And on the GIS, I don't understand what is going on in this picture. What is all of this? Yeah. There's a picture here on page 253 of 352. Here comes Mike.
Mike's coming to the mic.
Mike's coming.
He's the expert on that stuff lately.
Mr. Nolan?
Thank you. I believe the picture that you see is the app that we now have access to, that Yamna has been able to. Before it was just a web app. So you'd have to log in like you would a website, and you'd have no idea where you are, or to be able to actually single out on the infrastructure that we have. So now the crews can take with their phones and it can lead them right to it.
What are these showing me? You've got little circles and you've got squares, pink squares.
Most likely sanitary storm, or water. So any of the water stuff would be blue. If there's blue lines on it, it'll tell us whether it's a valve, different types of valves, storm manholes, sewer manholes, cleanouts, curb stops.
Okay.
Mostly water, sewer, and storm infrastructure is what's on the app right now.
Okay, so obviously your employees know what they're looking at.
Yes,
We don't.
the utilities crew especially uses that for finding those water shutoffs at the houses, anything in the ground that is amazing to help us find it. It's that or the old as-built drawings that have measurements that most of that stuff gets covered over time in the boulevards. So that can pinpoint it. And now what she's been able to do is to verify that information.
So that's
Yeah.
an excellent tool.
Really? Yeah, between the tools and that GIS position, Yamna's been a fantastic add to the team. It'll help greatly.
Great, thank you.
If I may add, we had that conversation about adding that GIS technologist to our portfolio of skill sets in the last little while. This is the type of thing, and like we discussed at that time, you could probably put 3 GIS people in a place like this, and they will save everybody else more time than what it costs for them to do things. So they're a real time taker for everybody when it comes to managing information and resources out there.
That's budget.
That's well, we've got it. We could use a couple more, but we're okay for now.
Thank you, Mike.
We're making really good headway on this type of stuff,
Good.
and it's paying off.
Okay, last question. Collettville multi-use path, detailed design and construction when funded through grants. How are we doing on applying for grants?
Plugging away and getting told no.
No, okay. So that could be a long time before Collettville will see that.
Yeah, I think, especially with what you see in a lot of the money being spent for forest fires in Ontario and in BC. We're gonna, and past flooding, we're gonna probably see a little bit of transition in infrastructure money. I'm just not sure it's gonna do much for pathways. We're gonna have to wait to see how they adjust programs, but every dollar that goes into this stuff is pretty much borrowed money now with the government.
But this
So we
isn't
have
just
to
a
try-
pathway. This really comes down to safety. That has to be the most dangerous road in Merritt. I think it's a little better now that we don't have the school, but that is, in my opinion, the most dangerous road because you're walking on that side, you have nowhere to go, especially on Council Petrosi's side, you've got that ditch. And that's really dangerous. And
And as an option, I mean, we're waiting on grant funding. If that's something of concern to council, we can, again, a budget plug, if you want to take a look at getting going on things like that, we would just simply have to fund it out of tax dollars. So
in my opinion, I think I'll push for that one because that's a real safety thing and it's been ignored since I've been here. And that's 50 some odd years. So, I think that should be a priority of council to make that Collettville a safer community.
yeah, the general plan, just so you know, with the Hill Street part of that, we have that large ditch. The plan was to run a storm trunk main down there and put the pathway on top of it.
Yes.
So it's a combined project. It's not overly complicated. It's just a matter of we're waiting on somebody to fund it. We did all the early preliminary design work on it, opting so we can apply for grants, but there's just nothing there for us, right?
Are you applying for grants through like the PATH thing, or are you using a safety?
There's been some even creative adjustment to what we might be able to apply for, whether we've tried a few times. It's just not getting funded.
Okay.
We even broke it down into a couple of small pieces, thinking, you know, for $130,000, we might be able to do a small piece, say from from the new bridge to the top end of the hill up there where the new subdivision goes in, just fill a gap. And we didn't get that either, and that was pretty small.
Thank you for your report. Well done.
Councillor Baxter.
I just wanted to thank you for the report and all the employees that contributed to this. This is very thorough. I appreciate it every time.
Councillor Petrosi.
Yeah, great report. I just had a couple people in the community ask about the Fur Bank. Progress is coming along. Do you know, is it going to be gravel all the way up, or are they going to be actually metal sheeting that is going to be, do you know?
That is something we'll have to request a report from the department, the flood mitigation department's looking after that. I have actually haven't seen a design for that at all, so I have no idea what they're building out there.
So a month or two ago, we had a situation where we all gathered down there. It was open to anyone to come, and the people that are building the dike were there. And they walked some people on what was going to happen there. So I think Mr. Strang, who just walked in, could probably guide us again to, you don't have to sit down. We'll talk about it later.
He is
Yeah,
here. Look at
yeah,
that.
okay, let's go.
About the Fur Bank, exactly what it's going to look like, what the design is.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I was just upstairs. So right now they've installed the majority of the bank protection there, which is the big riprap rocks. After above that, there's going to be a 1-to-1 bank slope, which is yesterday it was dirt, and then they're installing kind of a geotextile liner on that, and then gravel within that geotextile liner. And when I say geotextile liner, it's basically like a honeycomb grid meant to hold that gravel in there so that the dirt doesn't erode down. And so the design will be kind of that riprap bank halfway up and then gravel geotextile for the top part of it.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
And just air purifiers that we've been using in the community. Did we actually have those already, or did you have to purchase so many? We've been in the smoke for 2 months now, so just.
Yeah, the ones that we put around the city facilities, the director's been sourcing them. We did an initial 5, I think, after 1 or 2 that went over to the Civic Center. Then we populated City Hall with a run to Kamloops, I think, where they had them in stock. We got them that day. And there might have been a few more that have added since then, where we've had issues with smoke and.
Great.
But yeah, just sourcing them as need be. And
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah. Canadian Tire ended up buying 3 for their stores. So.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
like
good.
where we got the 5 in Kamloops, because here was the in the store here, but
Great.
we found 5 of them there. I think.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
RCMP monthly report. In front of you there. Any questions on the RCMP monthly report? Yeah, I know. We're working on that part. We have the 2026-08-20 council resolutions. And then we have a pile of information items. Anybody have any questions on any of the information items? Let's see who gets, Councillor Egan.
Yeah, thank you very much. I kind of like this idea of the country strong Merritt. Mr. Zackel, Director Zackel. How do we plan on funding this if we have it? Or is it for us? Or is it happening somewhere else?
I'm not around. It's a good idea.
Yeah.
You're working.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. I don't know how Mr. Cavoni's planning on funding this. This is a project he came up with and wrote it up overnight and kind of wanted to get it in the works as fast as we can, because fires, it's very important right now. There's evacuees, there's emergencies. He just, the flavor's right there, and he really wants to get this. He understands that he was going a bit too fast and that, his 30 days was not realistic. So he's thinking about early next spring was kind of this idea and stuff like that. And he was supposed to be here tonight, but obviously something popped up.
Okay, so it is something that we could be sponsoring.
Something we could be supporting if
Yeah.
it's sponsorship, if council wanted to go in that direction and help sponsor it, that would be your choice, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I think
my
it's a great idea.
my conversations with Wayne, he's looking for a venue and possibly insurance coverage. So we talked about a venue, certain spots, and then insurance coverage would have to come back to staff and see how that would work. Yeah, so
Okay,
it's basically his ballgame.
I think I would support it.
Counselor Richard.
Just because she brought it up, this reminds me a lot of the Hell or High Water event that happened on March the 13th, 2022. That has a lot of expenses to it, and I still don't really think I've talked to anybody who actually received. Well, I haven't actually met anybody who ever saw a check from it, but I think there must be people locally who did receive funds from it. I don't know of any personally. No, but I mean like actual flood victims who actually received a check to help remediate their homes. Like I've never heard of anybody say, hey, I received money directly from this, because I don't know how that went. So I think we'd have to be careful on that. But the one thing that I did want to really comment on was renaming or street naming, because we got that letter from Sergeant Hedrick. And I think that when we're considering some names, because there was some constables who lost their lives a long time ago, 1934, investigating a murder, Gisborne and Carr, that, we could maybe put that on the list of considerations.
It's on the list, I believe.
It's on here, right?
Yeah.
But I just thought, that would be something, since we kind of don't talk about all of the items.
It's on the list.
And then with the Trans Mountain, I also just wanted to comment on that one as well. Because I know that if you're talking about the schedule of students, and we had a request for 90% attendance for being considered for scholarship, but they think that 85 to 88% is kind of an average, but can we not leave that in there? Is the school board suggesting that we are not promoting attendance? I mean, that's kind of the idea that I got from their little memo, and I kind of thought that was a little bit like the school is trying to tell us to relax our suggestion of encouraging students to actually attend school to qualify for grant. Like, it just seems ridiculous, and I think we should stand our ground and leave it at the 90%.
That's why it's an information item.
Okay. Anyway, just a thought.
Counselor Charlie.
I have the same concern with the Trans Mountain Scholarship Fund. I think we set a standard. I don't think we should be diluting it, and I do not think it's unrealistic to expect students who are going to go into a program where they say strict attendance regulations, that we should take diluted attendance. Everything else is diluted in this world, but I don't think that we should be contributing to it. And I think staying at 90%.
Yeah,
And if we don't get
information.
someone for 2 years, then so be it.
Yep.
We commented.
Could always take it to policy if you felt that it needed to be looked at. So. Yeah. Any other questions on that? Recommendation that this meeting be closed to the public pursuant to section 91E, the acquisition, disposition, or expropriation of land or improvements. If the council considers that disclosure could reasonably be expected to harm the interests of the municipality or the community charter. Councillor Ogan, Councillor Petrosi, any questions? All those in favor? Going into closed in 5. Thank you.